Okay, good morning, folks. I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. We will convene the Fayette County Commissioners meeting Tuesday, August 19, 2014 at 10:05 a.m. Please stand for a moment of silence.
Just let me knock it off the furnace.
Please turn for the pledge. I'd like to ask the gentlemen to remove their caps.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we go to item 3, there's two amendments. First one is to consider amending the agenda to allow Craig Zimmerman of Crabtree Roball to give a presentation on the bid process for the proposed Fayette County Justice and Rehabilitation Center. The second amendment is to consider amending the agenda to include acceptance of the donation of a 2002 Chevy Impala police package vehicle to the Fayette County Sheriff's Office from Masontown Borough.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to include, consider accepting the donation of a 2002 Chevrolet Impala police package vehicle to the Fayette County Sheriff's Office from Masontown Borough.
I will second the motion to consider amending the agenda to include accept the donation of a 2002 Chevrolet Impala police package vehicle to the Fayette County Sheriff's Office from Masontown Borough. The basis of not accepting the first
Can we just vote on that first one?
Very good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The item previous, allowing Craig Zimmerman from Crabtree to provide a presentation, I reached out to Craig Zimmerman several times and did not get a very good response. I too have an amendment that I would like to put forth to suspend all actions pertaining to the Fayette County Justice and Rehabilitation Center until such a time as the working session that was passed unanimously by this board sits down and looks at options that are in the best interest of the taxpayer, not in the best interest of any other entity. Now, you promised me, you said...
Vince, I told you until you did it, I wouldn't believe it. I believe you, Vince. I believe you. Thank you. It's long overdue. I don't care why you did it. It's long overdue. A lot of money wasted, and I thank you on behalf of the people.
I'll give you a 30-second reason why I did it. I felt that the board was not included enough in the actions. Commissioner Ambrosini has worked very hard on the project. I'm not going to say anything disparaging about it. However, the fact remains that there's somebody to his left and somebody to his right that needs to be involved with the process. Again, I just feel that I'm still committed to building the prison. I'm not lying, and we're not going to stop that process. But I just want to make sure all three of us, as well as other stakeholders, are involved.
We never said that something happened.
I'll second the motion to amend the agenda to add that for discussion.
Okay. In terms of the process, Now, this process was started about 2 years ago. An email was sent out, and everybody was invited to participate.
No. There's a motion on the floor. That is correct. There is a motion on the floor.
And there's discussion right now. Now, I think that it's obvious that there is an email that went out to a number of all the county employees and made a reference to accepting volunteers from the public to participate in the prison working group, which is nothing more than a working team to evaluate not only the cost factors, but also the need for replacing our aged county facility.
I thought there was a motion right now.
There is.
Oh,
There's discussion on the motion.
okay.
But it's discussion on the motion, and the motion, as
Right.
Commissioner Zabatowski, I believe you said, was to, did you say suspend?
Yes.
Suspend all actions pertaining to the, read it back, please, Chief Clerk.
Suspend all actions relating to the Fayette County Justice and Rehabilitation Center until such a time as the working sessions passed unanimously by the board. And I honestly didn't, and then look into options by taxpayers and not another entity because I didn't have to.
Okay,
But it was related to until time that
you need a very clear motion.
Yes.
Okay, so let's repeat it, please.
I make a motion to suspend all actions regarding the Fayette County Rehabilitation Center until such a time as passed by resolution, the prison working group, which is the 3 commissioners,
No, you said the working session.
Working session. I'm sorry, working
That
session.
was unanimously approved.
Which was unanimously approved, are implemented and are discussing what the intent was, the new prison, which they've never done before. And as far as the advisory group, I was told by and several people it was in violation of the Sunshine Act, specifically the Herald-Standard's solicitor from the PNA said it was a violation of the Sunshine Act. So again, my motives here are to still build a prison. I'm not a jail, prison, whatever. I think there is a distinction. But I just want to have everybody that deserves to be a party to it, be a party to it.
And are you including in your motion, is it to explore other options?
I would hope so, because I have a couple.
Because I would not second a motion and continue on with this if we are not going to explore other alternatives.
Let the motion reflect other options and/or alternatives.
So now there's a question on the motion. The chair needs to call for a question on the motion.
Mr. Chair, before you do that, I did have a question of legal clarification. When you say suspend all actions, you don't mean by the county commissioners. Who are you referring to?
I'm referring to the county commissioners, and I'm not referring to the litigation that is still ongoing.
But are you referring to the engineers or the architects?
I'm referring to anything that was directed by the county commissioners, excluding litigation.
Any outside activity?
Excluding litigation. Yes.
Well, anything. Suspend any and all actions that the commissioners would have control over. There are actions that we have no control over.
But it's not, he's not suggesting that you stop meeting. He's suggesting that your
Of course not,
employees and agents.
because what he wants to do is to implement a resolution that I made and was passed unanimously to hold work session.
That all 3 of us would
And
work together.
Yeah, work sessions, we know what work sessions are, right? Right. Yeah. And you may not be privy to that resolution that was passed many months ago.
No, I just wanted it to be clear that it's our engineers, architects, people that are your agents, employees, not you, that are being stopped. So we don't incur additional expense, I think was the idea. Correct. Okay. Thank you.
Well, since Commissioner Avatoski is currently not in the room, let me just explain the facts that there was the opportunity for everybody to participate in this process for the last 2 years.
No, there wasn't. You're a liar. You had so-called public meetings and nobody was allowed to speak.
Those forums were a joke.
Right,
They were nothing but a
Write
selling.
your questions on a piece of paper.
yeah. And if I feel like it, I'll read it. And if I don't, I won't.
That's your process.
You call that public input.
The motion on the agenda, the motion on the floor is to amend the agenda, and then we will take public comment as required by county code.
He's continuing the selling job is what he's doing. He's still trying to sell.
There's a motion and a second.
All those in favor? Aye. Nay.
Can't say that's all we ever want.
Public comment?
Not yet. Okay, next item is proclamations. First proclamation is fetal alcohol syndrome disorder, September 9th, 2014. Is there anybody here for that? Please come.
Commissioners, if I may say a few words, please, before accepting the proclamation.
Sure.
Thank you. My name is Lorraine Yasanoski, and I work in the prevention program with Fayette County Drug and Alcohol. And September 9th will mark the 15th anniversary of Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Awareness Day, and it's FASD for short. And it describes a range of disabilities that occur as a direct result of women consuming alcohol during their pregnancy. And it's something that a lot of people do not realize or do not recognize. It's the leading cause of mental retardation in the United States, surpassing spinal bifida, Down syndrome, muscular dystrophy, and other developmental disorders. It is 100% preventable. Pregnant women must abstain from drinking alcohol during their 9 months of pregnancy. And on September 9th at 9:09, we will be spreading the word about fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. At that time, the Fayette County Courthouse bells will ring 9 times. This is to signify women abstaining from drinking alcohol during their 9 months of pregnancy. We also plan to release 9 homing pigeons, if the commissioners will allow us, symbolizing the youthful generation, peace, love, and maternal instinct. We would like to invite the commissioners and the audience that is here today to join us at the courthouse on September the 9th at 9:09 and help us spread the word that fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is 100% preventable. At this time, on behalf of Fayette County Drug and Alcohol Commission, I would like to thank the commissioners for recognizing this important endeavor.
This proclamation for the fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, FASD, whereas the term fetal alcohol spectrum disorder describes the range of effects that can occur in a baby whose mother consumes alcohol during pregnancy. Whereas healthy children are the most important resource in Fayette County, and fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is an irreversible, lifelong condition that affects every aspect of a child's life and poses a serious threat to the potential health of our future generations. Whereas the National Organization of Fetal Alcohol Syndrome estimates that 40,000 infants, or 1 out of every 100 births in the United States, are born with FASD. Whereas prenatal exposure to alcohol is the leading cause of birth defects, mental retardation, learning disabilities, attention deficits, and behavioral disorders. Whereas those with FASD have difficulty communicating, learning, and memorizing. Consequently, they have trouble in school and are often deficient in interpersonal skills. Whereas the effects of FASD are 100% preventable if women abstain from drinking alcohol during pregnancy. Whereas Fayette County Commissioners joined the Fayette County Drug and Alcohol Commission, Inc., and other committed agencies in working to raise awareness countywide to promote communications about the effects of fetal alcohol spectrum disorder and to encourage and empower the communities to implement activities to prevent FASD. Therefore, the Fayette County Commissioners do hereby proclaim on September 9, 2014 as Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Awareness Day in Fayette County to raise awareness about FASD and to urge all expectant mothers to take extra precautions for the health and well-being of their children. Thank you very much. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I make a motion to proclaim fetal alcohol syndrome disorder September 9, 2014.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval of the ringing of the bells at 9:09 a.m. on 9/9/14, placing yellow balloons in front of the courthouse on that same day, hanging a banner in front of the courthouse a week before the event, having a table containing FASD information inside the courthouse on that day, and releasing 9 butterflies or white homing pigeons on that day at 9:09 a.m.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Next item is public comment on the agenda items.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, citizens, patriots, media. A couple things. First of all, the one agenda, I'm here to talk about primarily the prison, but there's an item on number 6, the Fayette County Redevelopment Authority, and I'm proud to see that one of my heroes growing up.
Sean, could you just kind of state your name?
My name is Sean Cavanaugh, former county commissioner, and I'm here to let my voice be heard. But anyways, Bev Bill's in the audience, and she was a security guard at Laurel Highlands and became a school board member. She's always been a hero of mine and always treated me with respect as a young man. And the Laurel Highlands School Board showed leadership in shutting down this TIF, this incremental financing for a 20-year tax break. There is no reason, and I know Andrew French is back here, and this is not personal, but it's business. Nobody should give a 20-year tax break to the hottest piece of real estate in Fayette County. And I know because when I was county commissioner, I developed a 600-acre park.
I
want to finish, and please rebut me after I'm done talking. So, anyways, Laurel Highlands School Board showed leadership, and they shut this down. They did not give the 20-year tax break for this. You don't need to do that. That program is designed and developed for more blighted areas. But back on the prison, and I commend. Excuse me. That's on the agenda, by the way.
Yeah. Which item are you referring to?
The one you amended. You amended the agenda. So I'm commenting on
it. Was not.
But it is on the agenda now, sir, because you amended it. It's on the agenda.
No, it's not.
You amended the agenda.
I tried to, but they didn't pass it.
Yeah, but I'm discussing that.
Wait.
You can discuss it at the end.
No, sir. No, sir. You already talked about it. I'm commenting on what you talked about.
It's not on.
You're not going to censor me, sir.
Wait a minute. I think you stop, please. I think you're both confused here. Sean, which item do you want to now discuss?
What you guys just discussed.
Which was placing on the agenda to stop all action.
That's correct.
That is on the agenda. You are permitted to talk about it.
Correct.
I like you, Commissioners. I always have.
It is on the agenda.
Thank you, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Thank you. You know, Margaret Mead said, Margaret Mead, a great anthropologist and a hero of all women, said to never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Even the founding of our country, the Sons of Liberty. So, and with that, I commend Ralph Mazza, John Pofchin, Dr. Evelyn Havana, and Jerry Mazza, who had the wisdom all along, this prison project, but was refused by the majority of the Board of Commissioners. And I commend Commissioner Zimmerly for having openness and wanting public hearings and getting the input of the public. And people can argue an issue either way. But isn't it ironic that what happened in the coldest winter in history, 3,700 citizens of this county told you guys to halt the project, which, by the way, yeah, it was halted today. You know, if you're just listening, you want to save so much time.
And money.
And here's what the resolution said, which basically has just happened today. And again, Commissioner Zimmerling, for her leadership on this, the resolution said to be voided, all options including renovation, expansion of existing prison be explored, and for all future prison construction, site selection, cost planning, and related discussions be open and involve meaningful interaction with the general public. So there's a saying, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan.
Mr. Kavanaugh.
I'm not finished.
Just
Please.
for the record, I made the motion. Commissioner Zimmerman seconded.
I commended you for that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And also, one word for the record, just for the record, the Fayette County Business Park was funded by a bond issue that we're still paying on.
That's correct.
Okay.
And it's one of the most successful projects
It's a
in the
great
history of
business
Fayette
park. I
Counny.
agree.
Thank you. I appreciate it if you wouldn't interrupt me, and then if you want to
I just want to
question
make
me.
sure you're
That's
providing
a second.
facts instead of...
We know you made the
fiction.
motion, she
Okay.
seconded it, and he denied it. It was quite clear and apparent. Thank you for giving me the obvious. So the fact is, in the coldest winter, they went out, got 3,700 signatures, and what did they ask? They wanted you to pause, they wanted you to listen, they asked you for a referendum, you two shot it down. It was a simple request: stop the process, pause, explore all options, including the remodeling of the existing prison, explored, and along with the expansion. And that the plans, again, were meaningful interaction, general public. And not only should you have public meetings, but you should also have the press there. Howard, you need the fourth estate there.
A good press.
That's right. All press, good, bad, ugly, good press. Okay, you guys shut this down, Zavatovsky and Ambrosini. That was bad judgment. You know, Solomon was asked by the Almighty, what is it you desire? And what did Solomon ask? And what was he given? He was given wisdom. Instead of listening to 4 senior citizens who have a lot of wisdom combined among them, and one a doctor, and one an Allegheny Power retiree, he chose a stand of defiance, arrogance, and a public be damned attitude. The great Republican, right? One of the greatest presidents said that you can fool some of the people some of the time, most of the people most of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. With your, I'm not finished. You interrupted me 2 times and I'm finishing.
I interrupted him my point of question, so I would
Thank you.
no objection to give him some...
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'll be coming to more meetings, trust me.
Right.
With your arrogance in place, you turn this whole process into a circus, a traveling circus, making policy on the fly. You tried to force the project on the Fayette County Fairgrounds. What did they do? They told them to pound salt. You went to the Manila Township. You tried to force it on them. They told them to pound salt.
I did not.
No, they told you all to pound salt. Germantown, I'm not finished. Please don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman,
just
a
let him
little
talk.
order, please.
Let him talk.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me exercise my constitutional rights.
Pass the gavel.
Instead of listening to officials and discussing the project, again, your arrogance caused all this resistance. Resistance. Bad planning, bad judgment, no wisdom. There's one place where nobody's complaining to put this prison. There's one place, I guarantee you.
Then why didn't you put it there in 2001?
You interrupted me
Because you
again.
were afraid. Because you didn't have the chutzpah to do it.
Vince Sabatowski,
Thank you
you
very much.
interrupted me again. You are part of the
didn't have
blame.
the chutzpah to do it in
You probably had
2001.
the chutzpah to stop a
didn't have the
corrupt
chutzpah.
process. a corrupt process here. Now, you interrupted me again.
Well, give him 2 more minutes and I'll do it again.
Yeah. You think you're funny? I'm glad you promised 2 terms and you're going. There's one.
Why don't you just announce yours?
Let me finish. Let me finish. Am I entitled to the constitutional rights of speaking without your interruption, sir?
Feel free.
Thank you.
Please maintain
Ignorance. You're the chairman.
And I'd like to ask for civility also.
I'm just reading a speech here that I prepared, and I worked hard on. There's one place where nobody's complaining to put this facility, and there were plans. And it's right where it is now. Right where the existing facility is. You could cut this project in more than half. There's property around the county courthouse in Allegheny County. Anybody, go down to Allegheny County. They went vertical. You can go vertical. There's no problem there. Washington County, they did it. In Morgantown, West Virginia, they construct tons of buildings and use vertical. They're on the sides of hills. It can be done. So there are plans there in the courthouse. And to rebut one of the comments said, the prison thing wasn't on my agenda. Economic development, reassessing the county, and doing many other things. But by moving this furthermore, moving this facility out of downtown Uniontown, you hurt the downtown. You hurt businessmen like Ron Romeo, Jack Cole, all the other individuals who make their livelihood. They pay the taxes here. The employees of the courthouse, the employees at the jail are going to leave. The visitors that come downtown that use the restaurants, the shop, the bank, and on and on and on. Now, it looks like the albatross, pun intended. You want to build a facility where you need to build roads, you need to expand sewage, you need to spend millions for acreage, and then we're going to roll the dice. We're going to roll the dice, and maybe there's pyrites in there. And due to the geological report, we recommend that you take all that soil out and then put all new soil in. And now get this, not one brick was laid. I'm almost done here. The taxpayers of Fayette County are angry with your arrogance, your judgment, and your butt backwards planning. And this will be a huge tax increase. We don't need an albatross. We don't need a Taj Mahal. We don't need a white elephant. And I was going to call upon to make a motion to go back to the drawing board. And I implore the commissioners that you have open meetings, you invite the press and the public so they can have input. If you would have did this a long time ago, you would have saved this total embarrassment and how much money that was already spent. I don't know. I hope if one of the commissioners knows the answer to that, I'd love to know what you spent already. So the people of this county are demanding this. And, you know, my mother wasn't the smartest woman in the world, but she had common sense. And she said that you can't have champagne taste on a beer pocketbook. We can't afford a Taj Mahal. And then it's on pyrates, and then you got to redo it like the Walmart in South Union Township. Everybody knows you can't do that. Fiscal responsibility, accountability, good judgment.
To the deceased, because...
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Zabatowski, for making the motion. I don't appreciate your challenge and the things that you said and interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you. And Angela Zimmerlich, keep the fight. You hold these guys accountable, and the project's on halt. A win and victory for the people of Fayette County. Thank you.
Paid political announcement, and I paid and supported it. If I may, I have a couple of things I'd like to say. First of all, under the 2001 plan, which the Board of Commissioners, Mercedes Kavanaugh and Ron Nels had, and Harry Albert, excuse me, had every option to build it. Instead, they reassessed, they put some money at the business park, and they bought computers. That's what they did, and we're still paying for that reassessment, are we not, Commissioner Zimmerling?
Since 1958, it wasn't done.
Are we paying for that bond issue? A simple yes or no will be fine.
Controller, acting controller.
The bottom line is, you had an opportunity then to prevent this from being where it is today. I agree with you. I just made the motion to stop it. I have a plan that I'd like to present that stays downtown.
Because Ambrosini cut your throat politically, and then it was politically expedient. But you know what? You still made the motion, and give you credit for that.
That's right. Political expediency involved. I made the motion because it was the right thing to do.
Quit whining.
I'm not whining. Quit campaigning. I'll pay for it.
I'm not campaigning.
Go get something with one of your boys to pay for it.
You're losing control.
Oh, I don't lose control, Mr.
losing
Kavanaugh.
control.
I'm up to my control.
Mr. Kavanaugh.
Well,
Let's
he's
please
making all
have-
these comments.
Please,
Yeah, that's okay.
you've had
You
your-
cut his throat,
you've
he
had
made
your
the motion,
time.
I'm proud of you.
Public comment on the agenda.
Yes, please state your name.
Mary Beth Homestead, obstructionist number 7.
And please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less.
Or, I don't know, is security here to haul me out? It's regarding what the item that Mr. Kavanaugh addressed, the amended. My comment is that since you've put it on hold, and according to a Trib article in June, Crabtree and Rohrbach were already paid $1.5 million, and Slater Engineering were paid $298. But my suggestion is, well, since they've been paid and have the money, they should just leave now, since this is all on hold. It's like they got the money, take the money and run, and then let it commence from here with second opinions. Because they $1.8 million for nothing except paperwork. I think it's time. Why are they even here now? Because you're not going to be heard.
Thank you.
My name is Joe Schiffbar. I'm a resident of the county. I'm asking that the Fayette County Commissioners not do business with known liars. I'm asking that the county sever its ties with Tom Crabtree, the architect of the new prison. At the public information meeting concerning the prison in Bullskin Township on Friday, October 4th, I asked Mr. Crabtree, do your plans include a sewage processing facility for this prison? Mr. Crabtree answered yes. There's been some preliminary work done by Slater Engineering, more than preliminary work. Slater Engineering, somebody else can speak to this is Mr. Crabtree speaking. Slater Engineering, somebody else can speak to the number of sites that were explored, but there was a site that we were asked to evaluate with Slater. That's the old behind the fairgrounds site, and there's a cost of developing a sewer that's part of these costs. I didn't say it during the presentation, but the costs that I showed you are total cost. They include contingency, they include off-site utility development, all the elements. It's not just brick and mortar cost. Those are anticipated to be total project cost. That exchange is fully documented at the Herald-Standard website if you go to the multimedia videos. During public meetings, Crabtree also lied about the DOJ shutting down the current prison, and he lied about West Virginia forcing all the county prisons in that state to close. What do you think will the county's liability be if a contractor not chosen for the jail project took legal issue with a bogus, illegal, and unauthorized public notice excuse me, bearing a county controller's name without her knowledge? County bid numbers welcoming contractors to send $450 weeks ago to obtain project specs that Commissioner Al Ambrosini alone authorized excuse me, for publication in the building trades and carried out by Tom Crabtree. I'm asking that you folks make a motion to not do business with Tom Crabtree beyond this point.
Is it all right if I shift gears a little bit here to something a little more lighthearted than sure? And something I hope everybody can agree on. My name is Joel Chisler. I'm president of Brothers Laser Service. We're a local company. We have about a dozen employees. We're all local. The cartridges that I'm proposing that the county uses are all made locally. And
Item 16.
And it's discussing item 16 under the Commissioner's head. Is the item I'm talking about. What I'm proposing is, it's very simple. What I like about this program that I'm proposing for the county is, it's very simple. There's no smoke and mirrors. Simply, the county agrees to purchase laser printer cartridges for their black and white laser printer, standalone laser printer, of which makes up the bulk of the printer fleet for the county. If you look on, Commissioners, if you look on item 1, the very first page of what I gave you, you'll see that there's almost 100 monochrome laserjet printers in the county. Simply, all the county has to do is agree to purchase our cartridges, and we will agree to repair all the printers at no charge. That includes maintenance kits, cartridges, parts, on-site service, and we're local right here. We could probably be there in most cases same day. Our technicians are the best in the business, and we are HP authorized. We're an elite dealer with HP. So that's what I'm proposing.
Sir, you were here at the Tuesday agenda meeting,
yes.
And at the time you did not have the service agreement. Did you provide that service agreement to the chief clerk for her to send it on to one of our county solicitors?
I had left several copies in the Commissioner's office, I believe, with Kathy, but I'm not sure. I didn't know to do that. I left them for each Commissioner.
You came into the front office?
Yeah.
Did you speak with someone?
No. Actually, I spoke with Kathy Winkler,
okay.
And Kathy gave the copy of each to each commission.
This is the first time I've seen this, okay?
Okay. Well, I had left it last week, so.
I understand, okay. But it's the first time I've seen it. Okay, so let me just say another thing.
Okay.
Kathy, did you, once you received this, did you pass it on to the chief clerk or to any one of the 3 county solicitors?
I believe I may have, and then I put it in all the boxes.
Wasn't in my, did you receive it?
Not until this morning.
Okay, so you haven't sent it on John Cup or anybody?
I actually this morning here, I got it here. I didn't get it before I came here,
okay.
So no, I haven't passed it on.
What we will need to do is that if this does get passed, it would be subject to review of the contract, okay?
Sure. It's pretty standard. I mean, there's, like I said, there's no...
Understood, but it's been a week and we should be able to pass it without that. Enough said on it. We'll take care of that part is to make sure that we have our solicitors review this because, again, Cheryl, have you seen it?
I've not.
Okay, we know that the Solicitor Cup hasn't seen it, and the other solicitor hasn't seen it. So all what I'm saying is that if there is a motion to be made, it would be said pending on review and agree for any changes. I know yours is standard, but we have our responsibilities as well.
I understand. Yeah, is there anything else I need to do?
No, I'm good on that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dean Gregg. I work for Joel. I'm the managed print specialist of the organization. They pretty much built the program from the ground up. So I was here to just answer questions, of course, but to also offer that this is a tremendous cost savings. Every company, organization that takes advantage of this finds that there are huge savings to the tune of about 20 to 30%, just depending on where the current costs are. And this is also a great reason to be able to keep the printers in place, because a lot of what happens is the maintenance costs are high to keep an older fleet running. And what we're able to do is to keep them running at a very low cost, especially as it relates to pushing print to a centralized spot. So that was my purpose here today.
Okay.
And I thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comments, please? Please state your name for the record.
My name's Ralph Mazza. You know what my name is. Everybody knows my name. But first of all, I want to thank Vince for making that motion. It's too bad it wasn't made a long time ago, though. You just saved the county and you just saved our committee, the referendum committee, a lot of money. This is all we've ever asked for, was to investigate other means of doing this job. This farce has been going on for almost 2 years, and there's been no public input whatsoever on this. And as far as your prison committee, whatever you want, prison board committee, whatever you want to call it, The reason that two commissioners can't go to one meeting, I mean, they knock, now they're knocking Mrs. Abatowski before they were knocking Mrs. Zimmerling about not attending, is because to do so would make a quorum, and the quorum would have to be a public meeting, it had to be advertised, and to not advertise it would be a violation of the Sunshine Act. And that is why two commissioners can't attend such a meeting. So Vince was right in not attending the meeting. So having said that, I want to ask a question about in here you had, there was an article in the paper saying you were going to hire an assistant to the Buildings and Grounds director. In today's thing here, program, it says that you're hiring a worker. Is he going to be an assistant? Is he going to be a pencil pusher? Or is he going to be, he's going to get down in the dirt and work?
I think it's going to be a combination of the two, Mr. Mazza. According to the job description that Dominic had provided, there'd be administrative functions, but also Mr. Carson would like for him to be able to do some drywall, do some general work as well.
Well, the reason I take exception to him having an assistant.
Can I? That's incorrect. You're talking about the item that's on the agenda today? Yeah. No, that has nothing to do with the assistant director.
Well, that's what my question.
That's what I thought your question was. Okay, the item on the agenda today is to hire a maintenance worker 3.
Oh, okay. He's going to be a worker, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's what I wondered.
He is a worker. He or she will be a worker.
That was just a subterfuge to get around the...
No, that is totally separate and apart from the position that the salary board created by a 4-to-1 vote, which is the assistant director. This here on the agenda today is a maintenance worker 3. Maintenance worker 3? Yes. Maintenance worker 3, which is a worker.
Well, the assistant bit just boggles my mind. Because I remember back when a gentleman by the name of Jack Frith was brought in as the director of Buildings and Grounds, and when he came in, it was really in bad shape. The courthouse was filthy. You didn't even know what color towels they had. And in a short time, he cleaned that all up. And he had no assistant, but he did what he had to do. He had to fire some people because he found out that people weren't doing their jobs. And anyhow, he cleaned up the whole mess. Now, Jack was and is a disabled Vietnam veteran. And if a disabled Vietnam veteran who had to walk with a cane can do the job without an assistant, I think an able-bodied man can do the job without an assistant. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ron Romeo, third-generation business owner in Fayette County and City of Uniontown and North Union Township. I just would like to elaborate on 2 issues. Agenda 6, tax abatement for a 20-year period. I don't recall dating back to 1935 when my grandfather Stefano tried to start business in this area to ever been offered free taxes or a tax abatement, and up to this date I don't recall that ever happening as well. So, in my respect to this, I'm totally opposed, and you have to start taking the burden off the local business owners to carry the weight of this county. Furthermore, I applaud Laurel Highlands School District because one of my businesses is one of the largest taxpayers in North Union Township, and I'm glad the Laurel Highlands School District did what they did. Also, to reinforce the motion that was approved today in regards to the prison, yes, jobs. I have a little deli on Beeson Boulevard that does hot lunch takeouts every day.
Very good, by the way.
Mr. Zapatowski is one of our steady customers. And we enjoy a lot of business from the employees of the county prison every day. And I would hate to see that to leave this area. In addition, just something to think about now for down the road. Our Uniontown Police Force, it's going to cause added costs to transport prisoners out of the city limits. It's going to reduce police protection in the city when they have to transport prisoners out of the city limits. So it's something to think about, which I'm amazed that our mayor, our city council, has not stood up and said, wait a minute, you're going to take this huge thing from our downtown, and you're going to incur extra costs in our city to transport these thugs. So, it's just something to think about down the road. Yes.
I too support keeping it downtown, and as a matter of fact, I've approached some folks about a design utilizing the existing property as well as some new construction, a mixed use. And I think we can do that. I think we can pull that off without having to remove, as Sean had mentioned, the pyrite is an issue, and you really don't know until you start digging how much you got there. And I don't think they did. Their samples were done randomly. They weren't done on a grid, so you couldn't tell if the east side was more affected with pyrite than the west side or the north side or the south side. So I had some questions regarding that. So I do think we can keep it downtown, and I think we could have a mixed use. We just need to work together to get it accomplished.
I can attest to pyrite as well. We experienced that in our facility that we built in 1980 in North Union Township, which it caused us to spend an extra $750,000 to construct a new freezer because the pyrite underneath the original freezer lifted the floor 3.5 feet. So I can attest to that.
I did the work to repair that freezer. Yeah, one pyrite did lift from over 3 feet. I measured it.
Wow. Mr. Romeo.
Now, one last comment. Just something to think about. My food distribution company for 45 years serviced the food service operation in the Fayette County Prison. Years ago, the commissioners had decided to go with a food management company to now come in and operate that. So if you are going to upgrade your food service, first of all, I will give you free consultation with the layout, design, menu setup, and so forth. That's my profession. But I would really like you to consider to open that back up to where the county would operate their own food service department and allow our company the opportunity to regain that business back that we have not had for well over 12 to 15 years.
Thank you very much.
Okay? Thank you.
TIF, we don't need it. If it is such a great deal, private investors will put their money into it. So I say vote no. Go with Laurel Heights. But I'm going to keep that brief because I got to talk about the prison. I know, it's second nature to me now. I always think about the prison. Vince, thank you very much for the motion you made, and thank you, Mrs. Zimmerman, for a second. It's long past due. We spent a lot of money. It's time to disband our select prison working group, and the 3 commissioners have their work sessions. It was voted on. You voted several months ago. You voted to have the commissioners have a working session to discuss the prison. And as soon as the meeting was over, Mr. Ambrosini walked up to Mrs. Zimmerlink, and I was standing there and I heard him say, the working sessions will never happen, and they have not happened. That's the kind of man we have running this county. And I want to say to you, Mr. Ambrosini, shame, shame, shame on you. There is no reason you can give for the way you treated Kathy Reed.
Please, that's another subject that I intend to address as well.
Well, I just want...
In one way or another.
Good. Well, good, because, and for Patty Yarger to let herself be used by you to accomplish that feat is, I don't understand.
Boot liquor.
It's just, Al, I remember you telling me back when you were running for office how smart you were. You were second man at Allegheny Power. I took care of all the problems. I did this, I did that. And then you pull a stunt like this. You paid King Berkey all that money to do a report on solicitors because we're being sued too much. Then what do? You just opened up the county to a big lawsuit, which she will probably win.
That's right.
So, are you smart? I wonder. Unbelievable.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, let me introduce the infamous, the one and only, the front page of your Sunday edition Herald-Standard, Mitch Brozick.
Was my bald head carrying out what you saw on the cameras the other day? Carrying out the blueprints. And I felt that I needed to come to this meeting today just to clarify what my position was in trying to help in the assistance of developing several projects in Fayette County, one being the new county prison, the other the 600-acre parcel on the Mon-Fayette Expressway.
And then we discussed about the German company moving in.
There's a couple companies we're looking at.
We were talking about economic development, for real, talking about economic development.
What number on the agenda are you addressing?
The prison.
The prison. So we talk about the prison first. I'm a business person out of Morgantown. I've done business with Fayette County going all the way back to Sean's days when I purchased a company called Bear Security. I've done work in the current facility. Current facility really needs upgraded. Something needs to be done at some point. If you've never been there, you don't want to be there, number one. My role in putting this deal together or trying to be a part of this was I have friends that are developers in West Virginia. We had originally met with Commissioner Ambrosini, had several lunches with Commissioner Ambrosini here in Uniontown. We also had, I'm sorry?
That's the problem.
Okay. Well, we had...
I'm the only one not allowed to have lunch with anybody.
We know that.
We had Commissioner Ambrosini come to Morgantown, review some of the sites at one point. I've also had a relationship with Commissioner Zabatoski. When we heard that the prison project was starting to move again, I contacted Commissioner Zabatoski, put him in touch with the developers. The developers are Rick and David Biafor of Morgantown. And if any of you travel, shop, anything in Morgantown, the Biafors are one of the largest developers in West Virginia right now, probably one of the largest in the region.
I need to interrupt you.
Sure.
Okay. This is public comment on agenda items.
Okay.
Which item are you commenting on? If you are going to say item, the last item on the agenda, which is to halt or stop all matters, then please discuss that. Otherwise, you can come to the podium at the end of the meeting, at the end of our voting section, and make public comment on the items that you want, that you're now talking about.
I'll clear up on the jail and just move on from there.
Remember, this is, because there's other people here who wish to speak. I'm not the chairperson here, but I'm going to interrupt you. By the way, I'm Commissioner Angela Zimmerling.
Very nice to meet you, by the way.
Well, it isn't for me, not at this point, not after what you just said that you've already spoken with them too. Okay? This is public, please. There's other, please, hold on. There's other individuals here in this meeting room that would like to discuss items on the agenda. I do want to hear what you have to say, but just please, right now, at this portion of the meeting, talk about the agenda items, stay for the end under public comment, and you can tell us anything else, okay?
I'll stick with the agenda item just on the jail. The process that the developers were looking to propose for Fayette County was what's called a public-private deal. So what happens is, and this is going on in Morgantown right now with Mon General Hospital. If you're familiar with Mon General, it's probably the second largest hospital in the northern part of the state. What happens is the developer uses money from banks, insurance companies. They build the building on behalf of the county or the city. There's several of these going on in West Virginia right now. I think several other have happened in Pennsylvania with roads or other projects. And what you do is you use private money to finance a public project. And what happens is you save a lot of money that way. What goes on is you don't have the bonding costs. You don't have a lot of the other costs associated with building a project this way. Now, all the projects can be built via union, prevailing wage, everything the way that the county would require it. And what happens is the projects are leased back, or the property is leased back to the county from anywhere from 15, 20, 25, 30 years, depending on what the rate the county wants to pay for the project. And at the end of that term, the project is given to the county for $1. The land, if they use county property, they lease it for $1 a year.
Mr. Bruce, your time's up. If you want to stay
not
for
a
the end of
problem.
the meeting.
I just wanted to clarify what went on, what happened, and I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Did Hal turn that project down with you before?
He never got back to us after we originally met, and that's why everything came
How
up
many
last week.
times did you meet with him? How many times?
3, 4.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
So he wasn't
Stay till the end of the meeting and you can discuss those.
I can come to a different meeting. I think it's going to be a long one the way it looks. We can talk about the redevelopment stuff at another meeting.
I'm Dennis Kernock, Fayette County resident, and I have to apologize to everybody here because I have not been coming to these meetings and there's a lot I do not understand. I have a question for Mr. Zabatowski.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not being harsh.
That's okay.
It's just a question.
Yes, sir.
But why have we gone so long on this project until you decided to back off? Now, don't you have a responsibility to analyze what's going on initially, up front, do your diligence, make a decision, and then you go with it unless there's some major change of event. But we've gone so long on this project and we're almost ready to shoot the gun and it's changed. Why did it take so long?
Sir, we were not informed as to the level that I believe we should have been informed.
Who is we?
The other members of the board, myself and Commissioner Zimmerling. There were meetings held that were not informed of. One specifically, Mark Lindquist, there was a meeting at the airport. That seemed to be the place to go. There were places that meetings were discussed or information was discussed. If we don't know, I mean, granted, I'm taking my commissioner's colleagues' word that this is the proper procedure, we're doing everything incorrectly, and it finally got to the point the last 3 months, I've asked several times to please keep us included, keep us apprised. I went to the last prison working group. Commissioner Zimmerling followed me. She didn't say anything. I did, and I implored them that it's time for you to separate from the prison working group and come to the Board of Commissioners and the other stakeholders within the county, such as the DA, the sheriff, etc. Am I a day late and $1 short? You betcha. But I'd rather be a day late and $1 short than a month late and broke.
Vince, for 2 years you get this man a second on everything he asked for, and we shoveled $2 million down a toilet.
Would you like me to?
I understand what you're saying, you woke up. We're born again. But unfortunately, this gentleman just said, why did it take 2 years
The information,
and $2 million
again,
to get a wake-up call?
you're reading a report from Crabtree. You believe it has validity. You believe it's been done with the level of professionalism.
But don't say you've been uninformed, because you have been informed.
That's not the case, Mr. Chris.
Please, let's...
On the contrary.
Order.
You just voted yes, Vince.
Oh, I voted yes. I'm not getting to debate you. I agree with you. I voted yes.
He kept the process going.
Please state your name, sir.
Good morning, John Kaufman, Fayette County resident. Sitting back here, and it's kind of a surreal moment. I should be happier about all this. But the reality of the situation is we are still stuck right where we were. How many years? It seems like this has gone on forever. Does anybody have prison fatigue beside me? I mean, really?
Yes.
It's just like, Mr. Zapatowski, I applaud your decision, but I can tell you unequivocally that two things will not let us make progress. One, when we talk about what should have been done or could have been done in the past. The past, they call it past for one reason. It's done. We are here now, okay, and we really do need a solution. Mr. Ambrosini, we cannot make progress if you take the low road, challenge someone's ethics, you of all people. I mean, really. Mr. Ambrosini, you have, no, don't bang your gavel.
Let's try to keep this so.
Oh, civil, don't
Okay.
get personal.
It's not personal.
Oh, it's a headline when it's about me, but it's personal when it's about you.
Take the gavel.
I get all of that. I get all of that. So we've got to get past this recrimination. We've got to get past this politics. We have to find a solution to the problem. And please, let's move on. Now, when I read in the paper, okay, that you're accusing one of your fellow commissioners of ethics violations, and I think of the number of times that you have sat there, looked me in the eye, and lied to me about various phases of this project, I think, how do you know anything about ethics? How can you even go there? But you do, and you did, and now we're done with that, I hope. So please, let us look at the alternatives. There was a gentleman here, Mr. Brozick, I swear to y'all, never met the guy, don't know his plan. But this is what we need to do, is we need to look at these alternative proposals, and we need to select the one that Fayette County is served by, one that Fayette County can pay for realistically, because remember, that was one of your misrepresentations. This is going to be free, right? No charge to the taxpayer. Does anybody buy that?
No.
No charge to the taxpayer. Right? So with that mindset, we cannot make progress. Second, and very shortly, because I know there's a lot of people want to talk, the bid process. Okay, I have a letter.
Timer.
Keep going, John.
Yeah, the other people got
There's no time.
Indulge me. Indulge
Oh,
me.
too
I'm
bad.
sorry, we haven't approved this.
Kavanaugh talked for 30 minutes.
Exactly.
Sunshine Law says that you have to have time.
I'm almost done.
John, your time's up.
Oh,
Please.
Almost done.
Mr. Commissioner, I have no problem yielding another minute to the gentleman. Another minute is Mr. Cox, is that okay, sir?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I have in my hand a letter, and it is labeled advertisement for bids. And it's very specific. And as a matter of fact, it's a pretty good plan. I mean, it seems fair and everything, but it's very specific. It gives dates that you're soliciting bids for, and one person has to have the bid in, and where to pick it up. And after all this brouhaha about ethics, surprisingly it says, bidding documents are available for examination at, of all places, the courthouse. So the guy comes in, says it.
And 8 other places.
Yeah, there's like nine places. So how is one contractor, potential contractor, disadvantaged, okay, or ethics somehow violated, if right here in your own process, did you originate this, Mr. Ramsey?
No, I did not.
The fact, wait, okay, do you know who did?
That was originated by the architectural firm that is responsible to provide the bids packages to contractors.
Did you provide the authorization to put this bid out? Because you're very specific about times that you have to give everybody a
bid
month.
packages, John.
No, please, don't.
Answer that.
No.
I
know, Mr. Ambrosini, I know a lot about bid packages. So don't, spare me all of this.
Yeah. The answer is no, I did not authorize it.
Do you know who did? And who authorized it? That's important because did we have a contractor go rogue and kind of on their own?
The bid packages weren't authorized. The bid packages never went out.
Well, what about the guy, is the temporary controller here, Ms.?
Yeah, wasn't she?
Can I ask you a question without fear of like the press coming and boarding you or anything in your office? The question is, did a contractor send you a check to obtain a bid package? They did. Mr. Ambrosini, I'm sorry, this is not a figment of my imagination. Somebody beside me thought the bid went out because somebody sent a check to obtain it. But enough, we're past that now. I'm not done. Mr. Ambrosini.
Since you're making an accusation.
Not an accusation. Here, I'll tell you what, I bring you gifts. I bring you your own copy. I bring your own copy of this. Matter of fact, I've got one for everybody. This is not an accusation. This is entitled Advertisement for Bids for the Proposed Jail. This is not an accusation. This is hard copy. You want one? I can hook you up. You don't need it. You authored it, right? Okay. Anyhow, I'm done. What I'm saying is you need to get past where we are.
Are you finished?
I am finished.
Okay. Did you ask Commissioner Ambrosini if he's seen that?
I didn't. Mr. Ambrosini, have you seen this?
I mean,
You haven't?
prior to being out. Okay.
No, it was forwarded directly to the chief clerk, who waited for 2 authorizations. She only had 1, so she didn't.
Who was the authorization, sir?
I authorized.
Oh, well then you did see it.
You authorized without saying it.
Okay. This is why we're stuck now. I'm done. But folks, this is why we're stuck. You saw it, you didn't see it, you wrote it, you didn't write it, you knew about it, you didn't know about it.
We can.
Since you asked me the question,
okay,
I will answer it.
Thank you.
Now, I appreciate your effort into not allowing me to speak, but...
No. Mr. Anderson, you have ample time to speak all the time. Your problem is you want to filibuster, you want to bullshit. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to say bullshit. I apologize for that. I really do. I apologize for that.
Please, let me give you an answer.
Thank you.
Okay. Bid specification, the bid packages were completed on July 25th. Amy Reback, the chief clerk, is responsible to advertise those, to make sure those get advertised properly. She requires 2 authorizations, or authorizations by at least 2 county commissioners. When the bid packages were ready on the 25th, I gave her my authorization. That's only 1. She did not receive an authorization from a 2nd commissioner, so she did not advertise.
Well, how did it end up in a Pittsburgh?
How does this lady end up with a check for $450 to obtain a bid package if the bid didn't go out? We're really just talking in circles.
My fellow commissioners would give Mr. Craig Zimmerman the opportunity to explain the bid process.
That's
Well, he can do that at the end of the meeting.
The bid process is not the question. I don't have a problem with the bid process. I think the bid process is set up very well, very fairly, designed to give us a good break. No problem with the process. The question is authorization. And this has always been the question throughout this entire process, is you're kind of like the Lone Ranger out there, and you're deciding this and you're deciding that on your own, and your fellow commissioners, the other 2/3 of our leadership, have been excluded. That's a problem. That's one of the reasons why we're not making any progress. Thank you very much.
Before you speak, I need to follow up with what Mr. Compton said, okay? First off, Amy Rebeck is the chief clerk. Did you place the ad in that Pittsburgh Exchange Trade magazine?
No.
Did you circulate any documentation asking for approval to do that?
I believe it's what Mr. Kopshin has, but I can't see what he has.
Could I give you some copies?
Okay. Commissioner Ambrosini, Chief Clerk, just said that he gave you authorization, but that you needed to have a second authorization. Did he give you authorization to place that ad right there? Because it was placed in, I know what it says, almost verbatim, after the fact. But thank you, Cheryl Hyde. That document that you're looking at right now, okay, he just said that he gave you authorization to place that ad. Is that correct?
I sent an email to all 3 commissioners with this attached, asking for authorization.
You did not. That's incorrect, okay? Pull that email up, because that email does not exist, but that one after the fact, okay? My question to you is,
I didn't advertise it.
You did not advertise that. Okay. So do you know who did?
I don't know who did. I never saw that it was advertised.
Did you contact Crabtree?
You sent that ad after all of this had blown up, not before, for authorization. Because that's how 3 commissioners
I needed
have done
authorization
that.
because I never advertised.
Okay. The second thing is that there is an email that specifically shows, and I learned this after the fact as well, that a member from Crabtree Associates sent that to Commissioner Ambrosini, who then sent it to the chief clerk, not to anyone else, but to the chief clerk, and asked for a review by John Kopp. So Chief Clerk then sent it to John Kopp. All of this you find out after the fact. So there was at least 3 individuals who saw that document before Zavatoski and Zimmerman saw that document. And that was placed in a Pittsburgh Journal, or a Pittsburgh Trade magazine, because that is how that $450 was sent to the Commissioner's office. Okay.
Conclusion, Mr. Ambrosini, I've sat in on a lot of bid meetings, pre-bid meetings, construction projects. I've participated in quite a few multi-million-dollar projects. This is the worst rollout of a public works project that one can imagine. You have written the handbook on how not to do it.
Please state your name.
My name's Julie Toy. I want to thank you and commend you, Vince, for wanting to look at other options, and for Commissioner Zimmerman for keeping on pushing this too as well. I just have a really gnawing feeling, however, that in order for things to go about efficiently and on the up and up the rest of the way in solving this jail problem, I have a gnawing feeling that Al really needs to be removed as chairman.
I have one comment. I don't care. After observing everybody else speak, why is it that I'm the only one? You always like to mock me and demean me at these meetings. You have something about women, about me particularly. You told me limited to 3 minutes. You didn't say that to one other person except me. Why is that? Why did you tell me before you even started? Like 3 minutes. But everybody else, when it's
Because
me,
you
they can
listen
talk
to
forever.
him. Because you listen to him instead of ignoring him.
The arrogance you have and disdain for me is just despicable. And you're showing it now on camera, and this is it for you. No more Dreamland Lego jail.
Say your name.
My name is Jonathan Jones. I'm a current student athlete at Bucknell University. I just have a handful of questions. I'm living out of town for the majority of the year, so I would like a little bit of clarification on some of these points. My first is just a request for the occupancy limit versus the actual population of the current prison. My second question is, have any other options been surveyed and/or appraised? My third is a two-part question that states, by what criteria has the site in Dunbar been approved? And by extension, have any others been excluded?
We've looked at approximately 25 sites around the county for various reasons, and mostly sewage issues that different sites have been, well, I won't say excluded, I'll just say lower priorities were placed on them. You know, again, we've been working on this project for 2 years now. I think that the prison working group, which some of those individuals are here, worked very hard, worked very diligently, and determined what type of a facility we needed in terms of what type of programming we are developing, so we can actually help people inside the walls of the facility, transitioning them to being productive citizens. The fact is, right now, and you know, I think it's obvious that it was done by the economic evaluation and financial study that we're wasting approximately $2.5 million a year right now because of the inefficiencies of trying to operate a 125-year-old facility and the fact that we're sending approximately 30% of our inmates outside the county. Transportation costs, rental fees, and those sorts of things. The facility that we have proposed, and that is, the design is complete, is extremely functional, is very efficient, and even with the debt service, which will cost about $1.9 million a year, that's a savings less than the $2.5 million a year that we're wasting. And, you know, so it will actually save the taxpayers $600,000 a year. So that's all been documented. And I don't see any other economic plans or studies that give any better options. So, you know, we can dance around these issues all we want, but the fact is that a replacement facility is needed. It's needed in such a manner to comply with the way we manage inmates today, which is much more efficient than it was. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna say that our problem is we have a 125-year-old facility. Our problem is that facility was designed 125 years ago. You know, there wasn't even there wasn't any automobile manufacturers 125 years ago. We cannot possibly.
No measures or prevention to be retrofit buildings for that.
For example, in the current facility we have sort of a chapel that was formerly the coal bin. You know, we have no room for counseling services. We certainly have no room for GED training. Any of the things that we have to do in today's world. You know, 1/3 of our inmates, unfortunately, have behavioral health problems, and that's because our state hospitals, our state mental hospitals are being closed down.
Commissioner, they've been closed for 30 years.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but it's
also,
happening
this is
across the
public
country.
comment on agenda items, not a reiteration of why Commissioner Eversini wants his jail, okay? So, sir, you're right. Did you get that do you have another question? Because
It sort of developed another question.
Sure.
What I've been hearing is sewage and size. A large percentage of the current Fayette County population within the prison are nonviolent offenders. Why do we need more space to house them whenever they would be better served by entering into rehab or other recreation services?
We do have currently, we've started to establish we have a mental health court, we have a veterans court, a drug court. We also have the day reporting center, which hopefully will start to control some of the growth. The growth is estimated around 4% a year. With these programs, we'll be able to slow that growth down to about 1.9 to 2.1. So that in itself is a way. You're never going to stop growth, but you could control it.
Yeah, we currently have about 150 people today enrolled in the day reporting center.
And that came from Secretary Wetzel himself. That was I'm plagiarizing his comment.
Which means the last item I have is just a request for the numbers on occupancy limit versus actual population. Is that an information?
I think our occupancy limit is 262.
No, 232.
And the current population is?
I'm not sure what it is right now, but I know we have individuals out of county. We have inmates out of county, so we're at our limit.
Is this information publicly available anywhere?
it should be in one of those studies that he has.
We publish we publish the occupancy reports every month with the prison board meetings.
Where is this information publicly? And in these reports, but where can I go to access these reports?
File right to know, you can get them from the
Sir, that's incorrect. If you want to have that information, you go on our county website, www.co.fayette.pa.us. Okay, you go under public meetings, you click on prison board minutes, and you can review all of the prison board minutes. That's okay? You don't have to do a right to know request. We have it on our county website, all right? You can get it, you can go and sit down and get it today. I want you to have the information. That's our job, to give you public information, not to have you go around doing a right to know when it's available on it.
If you're going to stay for the duration of the meeting, I'll walk you over.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
Michael Cavanaugh.
Good morning, Michael.
Couple items. Commissioner Ambersine, I'm going to refer to, we have a controller here. Maybe the controller can enlighten us. Recent newspaper article, and I apologize if I'm going to be out of order. I work out of state. I have to leave. So I want to address my board of commissioners, and I apologize to the audience if I'm out of order. There was an article, you've asked that she be investigated by a district attorney and brought up on charges. You've now brought and asked that he be brought up on charges, correct? Or had the district attorney investigate him, correct? Is that not in the paper? And you wanted an ethics violation. My question is to you. Are you going to ask that yourself be investigated? And that maybe the district attorney ought to take a look at you for this backdoor access that you granted unilaterally to the controller program, the financial software program? Nobody authorized that but you. You told the IT department guy to give clearance to somebody else to the sensitive accounting system. Is that correct? The software, you did do that, correct?
I'll make my comments after you're finished.
Okay. So hopefully you'll turn yourself in too. But I find it interesting how you like to have the district attorney come to bat for you, or you want the district attorney to come into play and investigate him. I think you need to be investigated. And, on the prison, the geotechnical study that everybody had been waiting for, you rudely attacked Mrs. Mazza by saying that she's going to educate you with her engineering background, as I recall your comments.
Yeah, but
You had it for
she read it and understood it.
You had it for 2.5 months and did not share it with your fellow commissioners. Meanwhile, the county is potentially on the hook for $1.25 million of buying this land, and the time's ticking on the 90 days of due diligence. You held that report for 2.5 months.
It's not ticking, it's 90 days has passed.
And we haven't signed it, have we?
Yes, they did sign it.
You did sign to buy this?
No, I didn't sign it.
So you both signed to buy this property?
They signed the agreement, so yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So you withheld that report when everybody had, and you had access all that time, and you withheld it because when they did finally deliver the report, only 2 copies were delivered. One for the 2 commissioners that didn't have it already.
Michael, that was also contingent on the property adhering to or making the property was suitable for construction, and in this case, we're
But
not
so,
finding-
am I to understand that you have closed on this property?
Not closed.
No, not
Well, I don't know.
No, because
Maybe
it's
they
still
did.
contingent on the property. Sure, I'll answer your question, please. It's contingent on,
The agreement of sale was contingent on it being approved with a special exception and the other zoning issues, and that's still under legal appeal at this time.
But he said it's for downtown, he's for downtown, so I guess that's null and void then, right? The deal's a done deal?
My concern is we're at $4 million on this, as spent or going to be spent. And now I applaud you for stopping this. I applaud the people for coming and continuously standing up to have to listen to your arrogance, Commissioner Ambrosini. And I've seen you personally be unkind to a World War II veteran. I've seen you be unkind to his wife. We need to carry this a step further, as Julie Toy said. You need to leave as chairman because you obviously were not sharing the information that you had. You were withholding. You were holding private meetings. You're telling the IT department guy who's now you're going to vote on his resignation, who you told him to give backdoor access to the county's accounting system. For what purpose? If you needed information, could you not ask the controller for some information? What did you need access to the sensitive accounting program for, Commissioner Ambrosini, since you were the one who authorized it? By yourself, by the way, which is not allowable.
Let him answer, Michael.
Your time's up.
You going to answer?
Yes.
Can I listen to your answer, please?
Please sit down.
I'm going to stand. Can I stand here and listen to your answer?
We're not going to get into a debate.
You must be removed as chairman. Vince, amend the agenda again and take the gavel from this guy.
Wait, you said he was going to answer your question.
I'm waiting. I'm going to probably wait till something freezes over.
Into the microphone, because a lot of times.
The answer is, this will be looked into, all the details will come out, and I will guarantee that the results are going to be different than you expect.
In your favor, probably.
No, well,
Yes, please.
Mr. Kavanaugh, I don't even know what that meant. Okay? Seriously. And this is an agenda item, so we are going to discuss it. You brought it up, it is an agenda item, okay?
I think you have I think the controller, maybe she could shed some light on to how is it that certain people are giving unauthorized access to our sensitive accounting. I don't know of any resolution or any vote that I'm aware of. I haven't seen a document where anybody has signed 2 times by 2 different commissioners to authorize you to do what you're doing.
It cannot be.
This is not Dictator Al. And that's why you need to go.
Yes, it is. That's why we're in the mess.
It cannot be denied. It's already been confirmed that the individual received the authorization from Commissioner Ambrosini, and he entered into the server in the from a backdoor access.
Correct.
Okay? That's not up for debate. He stated it. There was a reporter from the Tribune Review who I believe, I don't know which newspaper it was.
It was the Tribune.
Okay. And he acknowledged, the employee acknowledged that was, plus the employee acknowledged it to other individuals, meaning, okay? It can't be denied. It was done through a backdoor access because one commissioner told him to do that, and the employee said that he regrets doing that.
Miss Rona, if I may, I'm sorry, Commissioner, Miss Rona, by virtue of having access, back door access, front door access, side door access, having access in general, what potential harm could become of the county's financial system? I mean, if somebody was having just looking at them, oh my goodness, I'm in New World, I don't even know what it is, what could they do?
Well, it would be per user, and the securities that are awarded to that user could be.
So they could receive the money, they could receive creating vendors, issuing checks, the whole 9 yards. So the whole process is breached, and no, this did not happen. Let me remind folks, no money was taken, nothing like that occurred.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
Do you know that? That's why you're...
Well, according to our bank reconciliations and what
in that time frame.
There have been no transfers to...
But it wouldn't have been found unless Ms. Rona found it. Not only did she find it once, she had to suspend passwords on how many occasions? Because of unlawful, folks getting in that shouldn't be in. How many times?
Permissions existed that were excessive of what they should be doing.
Okay, so it was excessive. It was excessive.
Perform your job.
Okay, so it looked like something was wrong there, and you discovered that there was excessive use. Thus, if it was me, I was using it too much, and I just didn't fall in line with an 8 o'clock to 4:30 shift.
But the information that was accessible was information that should have been accessible.
That should not have been accessible. It's not.
And we don't have a contract with the person in question, Sam Lynch. We don't have a contract for him to do any work on the prison. The only contract we've engaged with Susquehanna was Mark Lundquist, correct?
That's a different area.
But I mean, but that's the only one that has any contractual obligation to the county to do any work on the prison, correct?
There was, yes.
Yes, Mark Lundquist, not Sam Lynch. Sam Lynch helps prepare the audit, and then Sam Lynch comes in and helps with the budget, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mike, let me answer the question. First of all,
you have not adequately answered it.
First of all, we have an individual that supplies assistance to the GASP accounting system and our budgeting processes, and he ensures that we comply with all the codes of the accounting codes. And most people know that those accounting codes are kind of a moving target because there's always new rules and so forth. So that's why we hire a financial consultant in the first place. A couple months ago, 3 months ago probably, I was informed that the financial consultant was locked out of the system. This isn't the first time this has happened. And in this particular case, even two of the employees, county employees that worked in the commissioner's office was also reduced. Were changed. Their permissions were changed, and so they had. So, in order to keep productivity going, I indicated to our IT person, restore those permissions to the three people that they have been, and what I thought were inappropriately or unknowingly changed or reduced. And unfortunately, this has happened again just last week, where our consultant is trying to help the controller's office prepare for the audit, and in that, he was asked by the auditing firm to provide some information. He tried to get into the system in a certain area and was not able to. I guarantee there's some issues here, and they will be looked into, and it will be determined what we need to do about it. And there's actually no counties that I'm aware of, and we've sent out a question through CCAP to see what counties control their permissions of their financial management system through the controller's office. None of them do. They're all under the
Give a brief response to what you just said.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Just a brief response, please.
That is, what he said was incorrect. Okay? Almost for the last 10 minutes, okay? First off, let me say this, okay? The email that Commissioner Ambrosini directed the chief clerk to send out to all 67 counties asked who has the permission for the software. 6 counties responded, okay? 6 out of, and there were 67. 6 responded. Of those 6 counties, how many acting controller, of those 6 that responded, that he said it was the accounting, the IT department that gave the, has the supervision. How many of those 6 counties have elected county controllers? 4, okay? 4, they do not have elected, they do not have county controllers. So that's why the county controller does not have the supervision, because those counties do not have county controllers. So it's okay to make a statement like that, but it makes absolutely no sense. Of course they're not going to say, we gave it to the IT department and not our county controller, because they have no county controller. So, okay, it's double talk. The second part is that he just said that recently, since all of this broke in a newspaper, that Sam Lynch had another issue. Acting controller, could you tell us what that issue was and how it was resolved, and whether or not it was a quote issue?
He couldn't drill down to see detail of a check.
Okay, he couldn't drill down to see detail of a check. And what was the problem? And why couldn't he, quote, drill down or drop down?
He needed another check.
He needed what?
He needed another check.
Another permission.
All what he needed was another permission. So all what he had to do was, does he need that information?
No, he's able to look that information.
Okay, and was there any particular reason why he did not have that?
No.
Okay.
There is none.
But he had it in the past, so what changed?
Okay, so it was updated, correct?
It's gonna.
Okay, and we don't need to go through a back door to give permissions. All what you have to do is come to the controller's office, and they will give the permissions as needed to protect the security of our financial system. The other thing is, Commissioner Ambrosini said that there were 2 employees that could not do their work. Who are those 2 employees? The purchasing and the chief clerk, correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, the purchasing agent had contacted us and corrected the statements that were in the newspaper and the statements that he said. Her only issue was the fact that she was giving work access time. Okay, she had access, but this is the individual who sent an email to all of us to make the clarification because of how it was stated in the newspaper and by Commissioner Ambrosini. Her access was from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Work, whatever the work time was, okay? The controller's office asked the purchasing agent a few months ago, as a matter of, no, I'm sorry, the beginning of the year, 2014, and asked her to close out 2013 purchase orders. This individual wanted to accommodate the county and the controller's office. She had so much work to do during regular working hours that she went home and she wanted to do it in the evening. When she went home and tried to do it in the evening, the access access came up that says denied. You only have access during working hours. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? She came to work the next day. She asked that that be changed so she could go home and work on it in the evening, and she was given that access. It's not this big thing that she was denied any access. Employees are supposed to do their work during county time, not after county time. In this instance, she wanted to have access after working hours, and she was granted it. It's not a big issue, okay? But had that person, had that come to the controller's office, the controller would have done so and monitor it, okay? You don't need to backdoor anything.
And that's where Commissioner Ambrosini, I don't think you understand government that you're working. You got elected to a position, and I don't think you understand that. You have to have checks and balances. Number one, the controller's here to protect us. Number two, you have to have 2 signatures or 2 votes to do anything, and you don't seem to understand your position, I don't think. And my final comment is this, for Kathy Winkler, because I heard the show and I heard what happened. It is unconscionable for me to think that a county commissioner would call an employee into his office and interrogate that person, who is not your secretary, who is Commissioner Zabatowski's secretary. Who do you think you are to do that to an employee? You came in here and you had Ken Berkeley paid him all this money. We're going to reduce lawsuits. I hope she takes you to court, because you know what? You seem to have a problem with your job duties and withholding information and trying to interrogate people. You're not a district attorney.
If I may, Michael, please. This, and I say this out of my fondness for Kathy. This is just going to upset her further. So, I mean, I know you guys understand what happened, and your emotions are just that. But she's going to lose it pretty soon, and I don't want her to lose it here.
We're here for her, then. That's why I'm bringing it up, because it should never happen again. Ever.
Especially in front of a Herald-Standard reporter. Especially.
The Herald-Standard enables everything he does. Amen. They do.
Order.
And a few on WMBS. My name is David Cho. I'm also a lifelong resident of the county, and I will make my statement brief. First off, Angela, you have to stop thinking, because that mucks up household plans. Second off, I'm in total disagreement with you, Michael. In light of all this stuff that's gone down with this prison, and all of the lies and deceptions, he should absolutely not step down as chairman. He should step down as commissioner.
Any other public comment?
Hey, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Terry Chris. I'm from Dunbar Township. I'd like to comment on number 6, Fayette County Redevelopment Authority with your TIF program. I have to say, even though I don't agree with Sean Kavanaugh's politics, I'll agree with him on that TIF program. This is corporate welfare. And when I heard the last commissioners meeting or 2 ago, where Andrew French came in here and called that property blighted, it about made me sick. When any of us in this community or this room thinks about blight, you can maybe think about Brownsville's past or even its condition now. I'm not just picking on that, but you don't call a blighted area next to the biggest development in our county blight to get a TIF program. These are multi-millionaire developers. They can well afford to pay taxes and build and do what they really want to do. If they can afford to hire Reed Smith as their legal consultant, they got the money to do whatever they need to do. The Laurel Highlands Board should be commended for looking out for their constituents. What's really surprised is rare of a school board to really do that and put politics second and people first. So, commissioners, get rid of that idea. You have one leader, follow the thing. These people can afford to develop on their own. Don't give them a helping hand and hurt others who have done that in the past. Second comment is on number Human Resources, number 13. Consider placing on the agenda accepting the resignation of Director IT Kevin Holbert, effective August 22nd. I have a few questions about the police. When was Kevin hired by the county? How long has he been here in that position?
Oh, shucks. Ballpark, I'm gonna give you a ballpark answers. I don't know, Dominic's not here.
From the Fred Lefter days, he was a consultant.
Yeah, but it's official IT guy. 3 years? 4 years?
What I thought.
He was hired through the CD Sabatowski Zimmerman era by
Okay, so it'd be 5 years, then 5 or 6.
So he's not new to the program. He fully understands his job description and position and all that. When did he tender his resignation with that?
We didn't get official notice. I had spoken, Kathy had told me, I believe, that Kevin was resigning. I didn't receive official notice until Monday. Everything else was grapevine.
So it was
Monday, August 11th.
August the 11th is the day he tendered his resignation, right?
That is what we were told by the HR director came to the commissioners' agenda meeting on Tuesday, August 12th, and said that he tendered his resignation the day before. Is that not correct?
And
with a 2 weeks notice.
And he wants his effective date of August the 22nd. Is that Friday, this Friday?
He said he tendered his 2 week notice. That's Friday.
Has he been to work since the day he gave that notice to the county?
Yes.
He has been every day? Okay, so he didn't burn up sick days or hide from the issue. He's been a faithful employee that's come to work, correct? Now, I've heard everybody talk about this going in the back door and this and that, and obviously this guy, when I read the paper, didn't miss the responsibility he was due by Ambrosini into doing that. You know, you want to accept his resignation. Don't you think that's a little bit lightweight, accepting someone's resignation, instead of setting a tone and a signal to future employees, you don't do stuff like this? Doesn't that make more sense? Why would you just let somebody walk out the door and I resign? And by the way, it was the day he resigned, the day before this broke in Herald-Standard with Ampersand. The day before. I find it highly coincidental this man of 5 years decides to check out the day before the story breaks in the newspaper. So, to just say we're going to accept his resignation, what tone does that set for any future employee that decides to go in the back door, do things unethical or improper, knowing full well, what tone does that set? What precedent does it set by saying, yeah, just leave him go away, we don't care?
One thing, Mr. Chris, we wanted to make sure we have, of course, Kevin, a young man named Mike, are both full-time, and we have a part-time IT person. We wanted to make sure that Mike was up to snuff, if you will, on passwords, etc. As a matter of fact, the other day, just to ensure that there's no breach any longer, Commissioner Zimmerman and I had Mike obtain his own password on, what was it called, the SIB?
SQL server.
Yeah. And we had him seal it in an envelope, sign over top of the seal, date stamp, and then we put it in the safe in the commissioner's space. I don't even know the combination of that is. So we did make sure, and then Kevin was helping him with the transition.
But that still doesn't preclude you from reprimanding that. He did a major football. Major.
Oh, he put him to bed, yeah.
Major. This isn't a minor infraction. This is a major where, in my opinion, in any business, he would have been fired. Literally. But to do nothing, but to let him walk out the door, I think it's very irresponsible, all three of you. So my recommendation is he should be given a reprimand before he goes out the door. Thinking the next poor guy that got hired him, not knowing what he did. On to the next subject, which is a prison, which I'm sure you're full aware that I'm the closest neighbor to that major debacle that's come upon us. You know, this is a crazy story, Vince, and I just said it there before. For 2 years, man, you give this guy a yes on everything. To say you're on a loop, no way I'm going to ever let you get a pass on that one. We all beat into your, pleaded with you, begged with you, and still you give him a yes. And here we are again, $2 million later, and now we decide, which, hey, I'm going to be long regrets. I commend you for doing it, but $2 million later. Now, here's the problem I have with your decision today, Vince. Being I'm the guy with the wallet fighting you people, I don't like the fact that you're going to pull the plug but let the court system continue. Why do I want to spend my money to fight your system that now you're admitting you don't even want in my backyard? I don't want to have to fight Cheryl Hyde to try to be an intervener in my case, and I don't want to have to fight Al Ambrosini. It's costing me tens of thousands of dollars to play this little merry-go-round game with this prison debacle, okay? You pulling the plug and saying halt does not stop the legal process and the siphoning of money out of my wallet. Do you understand that?
I understand, sir.
So to let me, Terry, and company do the dirty work to put an end to this crap, while the three of you decide to cipher it out and talk about other alternatives, doesn't help my cause at all, does it?
That would be, I don't know the legal response to that.
I'm not asking you for a legal response.
Well, I don't,
you finally, there was an awakening that happened with you. Whatever that was, thank God, whatever it was. But the point is, I still got to shovel money at this dictator's debacle. You're agreeing. Are you sitting here telling me now, it's not going to be in my backyard, period? Is that your response?
I voted to suspend all actions regarding it, and I would love to look at an alternative site, i.e. I would prefer to remain downtown. I mean, that's all I can tell you.
Hey, you know something? This lady commissioner has said that from day one, along with me and many other people in this audience. But we were all obstructionists. And today I didn't like reading a paper with Hennick's little story again about obstructionists.
Here's a picture of Mr. Hennick sleeping in one of the last commissioners' meetings.
Hey, I'm a property owner, and I'm going to tell anybody in this room, would anybody, and I mean anybody, want a prison in your backyard? Anybody here put up their hand, please? There it is.
Al put it up on the hill where his house.
So to say to me that I'm an obstructionist?
Who said that, sir?
That was Hennick's comment.
Oh, okay.
Obstructionists are holding up the process in his jail. So that means the masses and Evelyn and Copchit and me and my wife, we're going to hold up this whole thing. He's putting all the weight on our shoulders. Okay, Vince, guess what? Today, you're going to take some of that weight, and you're going to put it on your shoulders.
Absolutely.
And you did. And you did. But you're not taking the weight off of my shoulders. Right or wrong? I got to fight you for something you don't even want, Bill.
It would take 2 votes to rescind that action, and I don't know the legal approach that would take. Cheryl would have to advise me on that, and it would still take 2 votes.
Then I suggest you better be doing something, because you realize I'm not going to roll over on this program and swallow these legal bills. You got to understand that, especially with this decision you made today. You leave it wide open for me now. All this money I shoveled in the toilet. All this time I've been a gentleman, brought ideas to the table like everybody else has been shot on, and I'm an obstructionist. But I'm an obstructionist that spends money.
Sir, I'm entitled to change my mind. I did so based on my belief. I feel that we can do this project downtown cheaper and as efficient as we could outside.
And I couldn't agree with you more.
I've studied, I've looked at everything, but I understand. But unfortunately, not every bit of information was provided. I have that all now, and I'm ready to make the move.
It was, I'll argue with one thing, it was provided. If it wasn't, hold it. You got an office right beside this guy, right beside him. Now, I need the info. If you don't want to give it to you, then grab and make him give it to you.
We all do.
Yeah, right, we all have to. That's exactly right.
I have a question for Attorney Hyde, because the issue here, the question that I hear is that we have 2 sets of individuals, okay, that has filed appeals with the zoning, okay, and you're saying, from what I understand, you're saying is that the action that will be voted on later on in this meeting to suspend these actions does not include the litigation. Cheryl Hyde, right? Which means that tomorrow,
the case continues.
Tomorrow, the case is continuing. Cheryl Hyde. Okay, you are well informed because you're the individual who is filing you filed a motion to intervene and everything. I don't know who told you to do that, but
regardless if it was done, okay? What action would need to be taken to stop the zoning appeal? What action would be?
I thought it was stopped.
The current legal action is against the county zoning board.
Right.
So that's not something that I am personally involved in. They are a separate county entity. So their ruling approving the special exception is what's under appeal.
You are involved in it because you stood in front of the judge and you said that you were filing a motion to intervene.
And she did file an intervention.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a part of that board.
I
I'm not just
understand
listener
that.
to that board.
Right. But you filed a motion to intervene on the Chris versus zoning hearing board and a motion to intervene on the Hispanic and
I'm trying to answer your question.
Okay.
So I'm not part of that board, but I had asked to intervene on behalf of the county to get the information and participate in those proceedings. The petition for special exception was filed by Commissioner Al Ambrosini. So one of the legal issues is whether or not that is a county petition for special exception or whether it is something else.
What would something else be?
So two responses could be either Commissioner Ambrosini could withdraw that petition for special exception, or it
which would stop the appeal.
It's already been approved by the zoning hearing board, so there actually is still an outstanding legal question that would need to be resolved, but that could be resolved in front of the judge. That's already been appointed.
And what's the second?
The second is if it was indeed a county action, then the county board of commissioners could withdraw the petition. There would still need to be a resolution in front of the judge. And
withdraw which petition?
The petition for special exception. If it's deemed to have been a county action, then a county action could withdraw that petition.
So we have to deem whether it was an Al Ambrosini action or a county action.
Right.
And whatever it's deemed, then that particular party, commissioners or Al, would pull it.
And most often, just one moment, most often we would stipulate on behalf of the county, designating it, and then designated the action that was needed to withdraw it, and then also stipulate with the judge what ruling we were asking for. But at this point, I guess there's some question as to whether I'll be intervening or not. So.
If I may ask a question, please.
But you did file.
I did file, but that's also under challenge, so I can't speak on behalf of the county if I'm not.
But as of today, I have to pay to defend her appeal.
Miss Hyde,
I paid my attorney to respond to you.
Miss Hyde, may I ask you a question? At Tuesday's agenda meeting, there were 3 items. 2 were put together, but subsequently we did separate them. One was the Chris suit. The other was the Kofchin Havanik suit, correct?
Yes, sir.
That did not advance for approval at this meeting, correct? Secondly, there was another motion that did not make it past the agenda. That was the motion to give Commissioner Ambrosini authorization to file as an intervener on behalf of the county. And that was not passed.
I know those issues are not on today's agenda, but I was not part of that working, that.
So what I'm asking is if I said no and we voted no on the others and it's not on here today, then
You're on target so far. The question is, why did she file the intervention the same day, 2 hours after the judge said go file? I told her she was down here at the proconatory's office doing it. 2 hours later. You're right. You did instruct her to do it. She did it on her own 2 hours after the judge told her to do it.
Who authorized her?
Ask her the question. She's right here.
Yeah, who authorized her?
Commissioners, who authorized her to do that? You obviously didn't, Mr. Zapatowski, Commissioner Zimmerly, Commissioner Ambrosini. So she took it on her own, 2 hours after a hearing, took it on her own to intervene on my case, and cost me more money. Yeah. Now you know the series of events.
John Cupp told her to do it.
Where did he get his authority?
Yeah.
We don't know. We'll have to ask John.
Well, it's obvious. Nobody give it to him. We got rogue attorneys here. We're just going to do what we want and cost me time and money.
My request was to...
I'm sure there's other people.
I am going to wrap it up. No problem. I want to know what we're going to do about this legal deal. You keep letting me spin in my wheels, you're going to get me more pissed off, and I'm going to sue you for even more money. I'm telling you, we went down a road, and you realize now the time we've all spent on this deal. There has to be multiple thousands and thousands of hours on wasted time. DEP officials, conservation district officials, courthouse employees, county commissioners, people of the public. Do you imagine the time waste you have created in this county over this debacle of a prison? Do you understand that? Thousands and thousands of hours. You've got grant writers looking for grants for a sewage project that ain't ever going to happen. What the hell's wrong with you, man?
Mr. Chris.
Al, you are out of control, and I'm going to agree with everybody. Do us all a favor, this county. Relinquish your chairmanship. Hey, Al. Hey, Al. Relinquish your chairmanship to the other two, and please do us all a favor.
If I may, one last parting word. Yes, I realize that I did support the initiatives presented to this board prior. However, based on reflection and review, I think that we can do it better, cheaper, and accomplish the same goal. So if that took me 6 months to figure that out, I apologize. But quite frankly, what I've now seen and what I've looked, I think we can.
I appreciate you manning up and being honest, because you know something, you're a leader. Everybody makes mistakes and goes. I'm not going to say I'm going to forgive you everything, but I admire you more for doing what you did. Be a leader. Cut the chains with this anchor, man. I'm telling you. Cut the chains and be your own person.
Any other comments on agenda items?
Okay, and I just want to very quickly, okay, because everyone who has come up to the podium has said about this being long overdue and even mentioned the work sessions, okay? So with regard to the work session, Mrs. Mazza, on October 15th of 2013, okay, a motion was made by Commissioner Zimmerlink and seconded by Commissioner Ambrosini to hold the Commissioners' work sessions for all matters pertaining to the new jail construction to be held at 9:30 on the third Thursday of every month beginning in October.
Correct.
Okay? It's never been held. It was passed unanimously.
Okay? Right, because he...
And then the other thing, I understand, okay, and the other thing too is everyone is saying about this being long overdue. I don't do these things here, but I pulled up the minutes. It's October of 2013, where I made a motion, and I'm pull up the minutes, you can read it. I made a motion to amend the agenda to hold a public meeting and to review all of the other alternatives to this jail. That was October of 2013, which I did present my plan, which was the downtown as well. So everyone was talking about long overdue, October of 2013. It's done today, so now we have to move forward, okay?
And I hope you two will work together and get it done.
It needs to be done, folks.
We
No one argued that.
understand that. We know something needs to be done with the prison.
No, wait, something needs done to address the overcrowding issue.
Right.
Okay? That's what we have to address, the overcrowding issue.
We know that. We've known that all along. Our point was, one man should not be going behind closed doors all by himself. That was our problem.
There's other alternatives that need to be explored and carefully considered to address the overcrowding issue. Okay? And we will do that because of this motion.
That's an old song that he's singing today. numerous people at these meetings. In fact, our whole committee has preached that there are alternatives to what Ambrosini has wished for. And nobody ever, he ignored, it's been ignored for 2 years.
Okay. Now, are there any other public comments on any of the agenda items? Let's move forward then. Let's go to item number 5, the Emergency Management Agency.
I like your
Consider ratification of travel to the Motorola facility in Schaumburg, Illinois, for Tony Alvear and Craig Canopa for July 27th through August 1st, 2014 for admin training on Fayette County new radio project.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider ratification of the energy management performance contract for October 31st, 2013 through December 31st, 2014 in the amount of $45,781.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider approval of a memorandum of agreement understanding with Armstrong County, Indiana County, Somerset County, Westmoreland County, and Lawrence County pertaining to the governance, operations, and maintenance of the Regional Public Safety Radio Controller Switch for the Intercounty Regional Radio System.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider approval to appoint the following members to the I-Corps Board of Representatives for Fayette County. Executive Board, Roy Shipley, EMA Director, Guy Napololo, 911 Coordinator. Emergency Service Subcommittee, Richard Adebato. EMS Representative Brian Van Sickle, Fire Representative and Representative Steve Cooper. Law Enforcement Representative, Alternative Representative is Vincent Sherwood.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider approval to amendment of the Southwestern PA Emergency Response Group Region 13 to include Venango County.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider ratification of a lease with Central Christian Church for $300 a month for 10 spaces effective July 1st, 2014. The lease can be determined by either party within 30-day notice.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 6, Fayette County Redevelopment Authority. Andrew?
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Sorry. First item that we have on your agenda is to consider the adoption of a resolution that designates that the county agrees to participate in the tax increment finance district at the Fayette Crossing development at the Fayette County Business Park. I provided you a copy of the resolution as well as an amended plan for the TIF district. As if commissioners will recall, we've been before you before on this matter. We were hoping to do this TIF district in partnership with the county, South Union Township, and the Laurel Highlands School District. The school district has made the decision not to act on the proposal. So we went back, we regrouped with the developer, and I do have Randy Hake here with Cedarwood Development who can answer any questions that you may have. But we went back to the drawing table and tried to carve out some type of deal to preserve the development, and that's the amended plan that you have in front of you.
And this is solely going for infrastructure, water, sewage, roads. There's no tax abatement at all being offered to the developer. This is just
correct
site development.
Correct, and that's the way a tax increment finance deal works, is they would continue to pay the taxes, the full freight of taxes, but a portion of those taxes
would go to pay for the debt service for the infrastructure. I'll make the motion. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
And you had stated several months ago that the proposal that was being presented would need to have all three taxing bodies to agree. Correct?
That was our goal, was to have all three taxing
Okay.
bodies participate.
Now, at that time, if one of the three did not participate, could it still go forward?
We didn't believe so at that time
Right,
because of the financing deal that we put together required that level of contribution.
Right.
Since we didn't get that level of contribution, we've gone back with the developer, relooked at the numbers. They did a lot of introspective work themselves trying to carve out a deal, and they've since come back to us and said they think they can still make the deal work with only the participation of the county and South Union Township.
And what does the law say?
The law does permit that.
Okay, because originally it was stated that in order for this to move forward, that all three taxing bodies had to.
I don't think that's a legal requirement, but at the time, financially, we thought that was the only way the deal could work, is to have that financial contribution of all three taxing bodies.
All right, thank you.
I make the motion. Again, I think the project's well worth it. When you look at the name of the retailers that are going to be coming in, it's going to be a very good project, especially with the hotel next to it. So make the motion.
I'll second the motion, and in addition to that, we can't ignore the fact that it's it will create 400 jobs for the community, and jobs are very important. Economic development
It's
is
not
very important.
400 jobs.
Not low-paying temporary.
Most of those jobs are construction jobs.
Question, Andrew.
We didn't give
The
anybody
business park,
else.
was
Maybe we could have.
Excuse me, I have a question of the redevelopment director. The business park, was it under the KOZ or anything of that nature during its tenure?
There was a portion early on that was designated as a KLC, but we removed that designation.
Okay, I mean, and do you recall what time frame that was?
When we removed the KOZ.
Well, when it was in the KOZ. The KOZ's 10 years, so.
Yeah, well, the county conveyed the property to us in 2000, 2001.
Okay, so
and, we removed that designation.
So it was KOZ prior to that?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
How many jobs will end up being there after the construction is done?
Ms. Smith,
May I
again,
feel
it's no way is it Wheeling Pit, but what it is, it's top line retailers.
Like who?
Am I permitted to say one of the names?
Yes, we have Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby.
What kind of business is that?
Is Dick still in the loop?
Yes.
Dick's Sporting Goods, which...
We have all kinds of sporting goods here.
We don't have...
First of all, wait a minute, did we let TJ Maxx and all them come in and give them a 20-year break? No.
Again, Bill, this isn't giving them, all this is doing is paying for the infrastructure.
They can do it if they want it. Somebody's getting money in their pocket.
And the school district is going to get more money as the project continues.
You mean Lobby?
Please, let's have some.
What's Hobby Lobby? Put it on
Hobby Lobby, it's kind of a controversial company, to say the least. They're exactly what it is. They sell hobby toys and stuff like that. I don't have it.
Yeah,
but they have some conservative values that is met with some resistance. So they're nationwide. They're a big firm.
Andrew, do you have anything to add?
Well, there'd
We
be
have a
like
motion
6
on the
or
floor.
7 jobs.
Please. We have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Any other comments by the commissioner?
And that one says 400
All those in
jobs.
favor?
Nay.
Motion carries.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
Next item.
Next item, Andrew.
The next item, we're actually submitting 2 applications to the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency requesting funding for the Pennsylvania Housing Affordability and Rehabilitation Enhancement Act Fund, Fair Fund. We've submitted this in the past, been successful. The 2 applications that we'll be submitting, one is to request $50,000 to support the development of the Fayette Community Action Agency of the apartment complex in Fairchance Borough. The second request would request $250,000 to support our Fayette County Neighborhood Stabilization Initiative, which we're implementing in Redstone Township, German Township, Town Borough, and Dunbar Township.
Come on, we have a quorum.
Do I have a motion? Second. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 7, Assessment Office. Consider approval of a LERTA local economic revitalization tax act for Henry Clay Township for 10-year period contingent upon approval of the Henry Clay Township supervisors and the Uniontown Area School District. Effective date would be upon final adoption of all 3 taxing bodies.
We don't need to wait, I'm not going to make a motion. Are you making a motion?
We'll come to that back when we have.
No, wait, We have a quorum. We have a quorum, right, we have a quorum. You have to, if you want, this is up for a vote. Make the motion. You can't, we have a quorum, we can still conduct county business.
Vincent completely saw the light.
Come on, Al, do something.
Wait a minute, we didn't have a quorum in the item
If you're not
before.
going to make a motion, then...
Or you got to make a motion?
No, there's no action on this one.
Okay, then move on then.
Consider entering into...
Well, wait a minute, it's on the agenda, so it has to, then it has to be, something has to occur.
Usually tabled.
Yeah, right,
You
yeah.
can move it to the end of the agenda.
You have to take some action on it.
You could move it to the end of the agenda and vote on it later.
There's no motion, it dies.
We'll just move to the end of the agenda then. Consider entering into an agreement with real estate appraisal and marketing appeals for an appraisal report on the Lowe's Lumber and Home Center located in South Union Township. Fee to be shared by Laurel Highland School District. Cost for the county is $3,250.
Move.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Consider approval of the following for real estate tax exemption as they have been qualified as 100% disabled veterans by the Veterans Administration of Pennsylvania, effective for the 2014 tax year. Those 2 individuals are Michael J. Schomer, 460 Constitution Avenue, Perryopolis, parcel number 28-07-0024-17, and Dwayne A. Royster, 100 Springs Lane, Uniontown, parcel number 34-05-0186.
Move.
Second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Under Behavioral Health Administration, consider approval of agreements and modifications as listed.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item number 9, Children and Youth Services. Consider ratifying the amendments for the 2013-2014 purchases of service agreements as listed that begin on page 3 and end at the top of page 5.
No, it would be at the bottom of page 4 it ends. Then you go to another motion. 13, 14.
Well, there's a ratification on the top of page 5 also.
Okay, so
The motion. I'm going to move to ratify the amended 4-year 2013-14 purchase service agreement between the County of Fayette, Children and Youth Services, Juvenile Probation, and the Bear Foundation of Pennsylvania as listed on the agenda.
move.
I just made that motion.
Okay, second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Consider ratifying the 2013-2014 purchase of service agreement between the Fayette County, through Fayette County Children and Youth Services and County Juvenile Probation and Summit Schools. For rates as listed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider ratifying fiscal year 2013-14 purchase of service agreements between the County of Fayette, the Fayette County Children and Youth Services, and Juvenile Probation with the Western PA Child Care LLC. Rates is listed.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider approval of fiscal year 2014-15 Fayette County Children and Youth Services Agency managed foster home board rates, along with monthly and emergency clothing allowances.
Move.
Second.
As listed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider approval of the fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of service agreements between the County of Fayette through Fayette County Children and Youth Services and Jarius George Jr. Esquire from Uniontown. He is a court appointed to represent children in dependency proceedings. The rate for his services is $1,000 per month.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I would, without any objection, I would, if possible, combine them, and we can't combine the next three because they're all the same.
There's actually 5 more listed on the agenda.
Five more listed on the agenda.
Robert Harper, Karen Keeper, Kimberly Kovach, Pat McDaniel, and then Beverly Jean Uline.
Okay.
All at the, I'm going to make them,
I have a motion to approve those at the corresponding rates as listed.
yes.
Well, I'll read their names at least. I make a motion to approve Robert Harper, Esquire, Karen Kiefer, Esquire, Kimberly Kovach, Esquire, Patrick McDonald, Esquire, Wendy, straight that, Beverly Jean Gilhan, Esquire, at a rate of $1,000 a month to represent children in dependency proceedings.
For year 2014-15.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion
Now
carries.
you have Wendy O'Brien.
Consider approval of the fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of service agreements between the County of Fayette through Fayette County Children and Youth Services and Wendy O'Brien Esquire of Uniontown was court appointed to represent children in dependencies. The rate for her services is $65 per hour.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of a fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of service agreements between the County of Fayette and Fayette County Children and Youth Services and Anthony S. Dodola Jr. Esquire for a rate of services of $140 per hour and a $5 per motorization.
Okay.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of a fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of service agreements between the County of Fayette through Fayette County Children and Youth Services and Safeway Pest Control Services. The cost for the service is the same as last year, $30 per month.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of a fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of service agreement between the County of Fayette through the Fayette County Children and Youth Services and Fayette County Juvenile Probation and Family First of McClellantown for in-home services on an as-needed basis for CYS and JPO families. Rates as follows.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of the fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of service agreements between the County of Fayette through the Fayette County Children and Youth Services and Fayette County Drug and Alcohol Commission, Uniontown, for validation chain of custody of urine samples for drug testing of parents and adolescents on an as-needed basis. Rates as follows.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Consider approval of a fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of service agreements between the County of Fayette, the Fayette County Children and Youth Services, and Connersville Counseling for psychological services. Rates as follows.
Second.
Those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval of a fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of service agreements between the County of Fayette, through Fayette County Children and Youth Services, and Connersville Counseling and Psychological Services. Rates as follows. All those in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of a fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of service agreements between the County of Fayette, through Fayette County Children and Youth Services, and Antoinette Woods, PhD, licensed professional counselor, Mulchin and Associates, whose principal place of business is Mount Vernon Avenue, Uniontown. Rates as follows.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of services between the County of Fayette, through Fayette County Children and Youth Services, and Seneca Family Agencies. The fee for such services, $25 per search for a standard family finding search, and additional $5 per search when including a social network search.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of fiscal year 2014-15 purchase of service agreements between the County of Fayette, through Fayette County Children and Youth Services, and Blades and Spades Grindstone. Rates as follows.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Under the Controller's Office, item number 10, financial condition of the county.
As of August 19th, the cash checking account is $7,066,105.55. In funds owed to the general fund, temporarily into the victim witness fund is $22,606.18. Children and Youth Fund is $1 million. The bond fund is $2,009,542.20. Due to the general fund from the ferry boat is $6,612. Our payments due, intermediate punishment for the past 3 years come to $40,651.26. Offender supervision for the past 3 years, $87,758.28. Victim witness, $4,271.61. Records improvement, $2,325.32. And the Fredericktown Ferry, $5,054.04. Central service payments due to the general fund. The C-17 fund for the past 3 years owes $12,490. Offender supervision for the past 4 years is $56,740. Intermediate punishment for the past 4 years, $29,053. And victim witness fund is $10,780.
Bless you.
The general fund owes on the tax anticipation note $5,260,000. That makes our net position right now at $5,093,989.44. Total revenues for 2014 are $22,167,717.46. The total expenditures, $17,338,470.21. And total 2013 expenditures that were paid in 2014 is $1,120,484.47. The capital reserve fund balance is $234,645.34. The bond fund balance is $210,566.78. The Marcellus Shell cash account is $2,951,000.19.
And we've just received our money, so we put in there that we just received in this year $1,676,780.45. The Fredericktown Ferry balance has a balance in its checking account that will be transferred over to the general fund, and that amount is $26,922.75.
Very good, thank you, Joe.
That does not, this funds general fund owes, okay, and that's taxing anticipation of 9.5 was taken out, so that means that,
We've made payments on that.
okay, so 5.2
Is what's left.
is the balance. Okay. And then there is, does this printout also include, I don't think it does, but if it doesn't, maybe we should start putting it on until the matter is resolved. The general fund, monies are owed to the general fund for all prison-related.
That's up at the top.
Okay.
Temporary loans to the bond fund.
Okay.
$2 million.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the financial report? Item number 11, coroner. Consider ratification of submission of a grant in the amount of $79,038 through Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. On the next item, I believe there was one of the bids that may have been, there's a request for rejection.
A request for what?
Rejection?
Consider awarding bid 14-05 to, and I think the only bid, the only one that's I think has to be rejected is a vehicle 161.
How many bids were received? 5 bids were received.
Not everybody bid on everything. No, there were 5 separate bids received.
Yeah, from my understanding, the prison wants to keep vehicle number 161 for inmate transport to out-of-county prisons, and then the vehicles 143, 162, 163, 195, 196, and 197 would be accepted in this this bid for sale. Between Thomas Kostelek and Chicago Autoplex for the rest of them.
This was sent yesterday. Okay, from the prison to the chief clerk. The prison is interested in, I'm just reading this now, okay? The prison is interested in obtaining fact bus number 161. Okay, so did any bidders bid on 161? And if they did, what effect does that have on their bid packet?
What do you mean, what effect does it? The bids say that the commissioners can reject any bids for any reason. I mean, that's in the standard legal ad. I don't know if all 5 separate bids bid on 161. I sent the email with all the bids to all 3 commissioners.
I understand that, but this here is just a Monday, August 18th, 9:02 from Jack to Amy, copy Brian and Mike, and we got it just now, this morning. So now I'm reading it, so I'm asking, did bidders bid on 161? And if they did, and if it was a package, will that have any effect now that we are taking, did they bid it as a whole packet, or did they individually bid?
They submitted separate bids for each bus.
Each of those 5 bidders did separate bids for each particular bus.
They gave amounts for each of the buses that they were bidding on. Like I said, all of them did not bid on every bus. But every one that they bid on, they didn't just put an amount. They put an amount per bus in there.
So was it like an auction? Will we have a reserve on it? In this case, they just reserved the right? not to sell. Forget it, I even asked.
Well, that's what happened was after it wasn't after the bids were open, it was after the bids were advertised, but before they were open, the prison expressed an interest in one of the buses. So I had contacted Lori Gruber-Smith, the head of the FAC department, and asked her about that, and that was what prompted the correspondence from the prison.
Solicitor Hyde.
Yes, sir.
Is there any, I think in all our bid packages, we always make the kind of across the board statement that we can reject any or all bids. Is there any legal issue with rejecting the bid for vehicle number 161?
You could reject all bids for vehicle 161.
Any questions? Do I have a motion to consider awarding bid 14-05 to the bidders as listed, with the exception of vehicle 161?
Well, my question would be, who were the bidders? Amy, can you give me the name of the bid?
Here's the...
Chicago
143 was Thomas Kostelak.
And the rest of Chicago Autoplex. Very good.
Yes.
I'll second.
Did you make that motion? Yeah. Is that a motion?
Motion.
That doesn't even make any sense. Read back the motion, please.
The motion was...
Yeah, read back the motion.
Award the bids for buses 143, 161, 160.
That's not true.
No, let's award all the vehicles listed with the exception of 161. So that's the motion, is to award, consider awarding bid 1405 to the following, which is, may I see that again, Commissioner? I don't have that.
Thomas Kostelak.
It's Thomas Kostelak in Chicago. He's Thomas Kostelak bidding on bus 143, and Chicago Autoplex bidding on 162, 163, 195, 196, and 197.
Four prices as listed. The bid opening was August 14th. Is there, Solicitor Hyde, does that sound like an appropriate motion to you?
What was the price?
I think you said is listed, but
As
on my agenda it doesn't have a listing.
Okay.
The price you mean?
Vehicle number
I can just
140.
imagine how Chief Clerk is supposed to go back and type up a resolution and how that resolution is going to look. It's not difficult for a resolution to be stated and make it clear. No wonder people have problems after these meetings.
Let me be clear.
Please do, and make a motion.
Consider awarding bid 14-05 to Thomas Kostelak for vehicle 143 for $1,000. Vehicle 162 to Chicago Autoplex for $1,395. Vehicle 163 to Chicago Autoplex for $1,395. For vehicle 195 to Chicago Autoplex for $1,395. Vehicle 196 to Chicago Autoplex for $1,395. And vehicle 197 to Chicago Autoplex for $595. Bid opening was August 14th.
You just made the motion.
Okay, second.
All those in favor? Aye.
And I apologize, I did not get this email until today at 8:31, so I wasn't aware of the figure. I do apologize.
We have to reject the bid now.
Commissioner Ambrosini, in regards to Vehicle 161.
Yes. Consider rejecting the bid 14-05 to Chicago Water Complex, vehicle number.
Look, I'm going to make the motion, please. I'm going to make a motion, please.
Reject all bids for vehicle number 161.
That's your motion.
To do what?
To reject all bids for vehicle 161.
Okay.
Do you have a second for that?
We're rejecting 161, yes. I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye, motion carries. Item 13, Human Resources. Under Buildings and Grounds, consider approving the hire of, I guess this one's
TBD.
Do we have a, do we have a person for that? We'll just table it.
I mean,
We're not going to table this. Bob, what's the individual's name? We need workers in the maintenance office. How many people did you interview, Bob?
We interviewed 4.
Four people. How many were internal bids?
2 were internal bids, 1 outside.
You didn't interview.
We didn't interview. 1 was an internal bid. We turned it down where the qualifications necessary.
Who's your?
And then you guys were going to take, so I'm going to take over this conversation right now. So just hold on, okay, please. Okay.
We chose a gentleman by the name of Mark Harris.
Mark Harris. Okay. And there were 2 internal bids. One internal bid declined in the interview. Okay, and the other internal bid determined that he was not qualified. Okay, so therefore you went and you interviewed 2 outside? 3 outside, okay. And who are you recommending?
We're recommending Mark Harris.
Mark Harris? Okay, I make the motion to, and this is because based on qualifications and nothing else. And this is who you believe it meets all of these qualifications, right?
Yes, we do.
I'm more concerned about you. I don't know who we is.
I do.
Who's we?
Dominic and I who interviewed.
Okay, but you're the director and this is who you want, right? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the hire of Mark Harris.
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 That is correct.
As maintenance worker 3 at SEIU pay grade 9, step A, $12.23 an hour, which is $25,438.40 annually, effective.
He wants to give a 2 weeks notice. So
I need an effective date for my motion.
September 8th.
Effective, his start date is September 8th, 2014.
Yes.
That's my motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under CYS, consider ratifying the resignation of caseworker 1, Christina Cook, effective August 5th, 2014.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider approving the promotion of caseworker 2, Jamie Schaefer, to caseworker supervisor at North Union Supervisory, pay grade 16, annual rate of $41,223, effective August 20th, 2014.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider ratifying the resignation of full-time 911 dispatcher Flint Riggins, effective August 9th, 2014.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider approving the promotion of Elizabeth DeOria from a part-time 911 dispatcher to full-time dispatcher, effective August 20th, 2014.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Under fact, consider approving the transfer and promotion of Tanya Black, APO Department Clerk 1 to Transportation Clerk 2 at SEIU pay grade 5, Step A, $10.70 an hour, effective August 25th, 2014.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider placing on the agenda approving the hire of 2 be determined, or I guess, Is there anybody here from FACT? No action on this then.
This was a part-time position, transportation specialist. Dominic said he had conducted some interviews, but he didn't go any further than that.
Okay, so
I'll make
No,
a
we have
table.
to take an action.
I'll
We
make a
have to
motion.
take an
we'll
action.
table it until,
No, you make a motion to table.
That's what I just said. I made a motion
Make
to
a
table.
motion, second.
all those in favor?
Just-
Under
it's not-
IT,
no
consider placing on the agenda accepting, or consider the motion to accept the resignation of Director IT Taylor Holbert effective August 22nd, 2014.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Under tax assessment, consider ratifying the hire of Blaine Scar as a temporary part-time mapping technician at $11.40 per hour, effective July 28, 2014 through December 31st, 2014.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider ratifying the transfer of Patricia Tague from FACT Transportation Clerk 2 to Veteran Service Clerk at SEI pay grade 3, step A, $10 per hour, effective July 24th, 2014.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under planning and zoning, consider approval of a grant submission to the Department of Community and Economic Development, Commonwealth Finance Authority for a county parks development project. The county will seek grant funds in the amount of $117,164, and the county match is 15% or $20,676.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under tax claim, consider approval of a motion to accept the following bids from the August 5th, 2014 repository sale bid opening, subject to all conditions being met. Properties as listed for a total of $3,163.61.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider transferring the title of Redstone Township Parcel 30-20-0107 from Fayette County to Redstone Township at a cost of $329,095 as per real estate tax sale law, if applicable, which is the total cost of the free and clear sale of 2014.
Cheryl, hi. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Did Attorney Tuck discuss this matter with you? No. Chief Clerk, do you know if the solicitor for Redstone Township did he make any contact with you? Did Jack Purcell?
No, Jack Purcell did not. I did get correspondence from Solicitor Cup, which is where he got the figure.
Okay. I make a motion to table transferring the title Redstone Township Parcel 30-20-0107 and place it on the agenda for the September 2014 regular commissioners.
I thought you had, sorry, were you there? I thought you had spoken with Purcell on this.
Yes, I did, but then Attorney Cup said that...
You wanted to review it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item 16 under Commissioners, consider approval of the June 17, 2014 Commissioner regular meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider approval of the July 15, 2014 Commissioners regular meeting minutes.
Chief
Chief Clerk, I sent an email to make one correction. You have that?
Yes.
And you made the correction. Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Motion that we reappoint Paul H. Forge Jr. to the Fayette County Redevelopment Authority for a 5-year term to expire on July 8, 2019. I made the motion. Second.
You're making a motion?
Yes.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval to enter into a, we have to pick one, 3 or 5 years, for the BLS free service agreement with Brothers Laser Service Incorporated of Uniontown for maintenance repair costs for the county's 100 standalone HP laser printers. The agreement would eliminate future maintenance repair costs for the black and white printers, and the county would agree to purchase all future HP laser cartridges from BLS at agreed prices.
It's a no lose proposition. I'd be willing to go 3 years and see how it works out. So I'll make a motion for the 3-year.
The agreement that...
Mr. Cupp hasn't had a chance though. It's based on stipulation of council.
The agreement, what was the gentleman's name? Does anyone know?
Joel Chisler.
Chisler? Joel Chisler. Okay. What he sent to us is for the term of 3 years. Okay, that's what he's putting forward, term of 3 years. So, Commissioner Zabatowski, you're making the motion to enter into the toner cartridge purchasing free service agreement for a 3-year term.
Yes, ma'am.
Subject to review by the county solicitor for
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider allocating funds from the Marcella Shell Legacy Fund
I'll make a motion
for agricultural land preservation program.
I'll make a motion to allocate from the 2013 calendar year Marcella Shell Legacy Fund for the agricultural land preservation program of $40,000.
Is there a second to the motion? Is there a second to the motion? Motion fails for lack of second.
I'll make a motion that we appropriate $30,000 to the from the Marcellus Shell Legacy Fund for the agricultural land preservation.
Second. All those in favor?
Which year?
I'm sorry? 2013.
The 2013-2013
Yes.
calendar year?
Yes.
Marcella Shell Legacy Fund? 30,000 you said?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
He said 40, he said 30.
I know, I didn't get a second. But when he read his motion, I did not hear him say for the 2013 calendar year. We have to designate which calendar year. I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider ratification of the following transfers as listed for a total of $28,260. Debits and credits the same.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider taking the necessary steps to further investigate the breach of security of the New World system, which may include but not be limited to discussion with staff, review of computer backdoor access, conduct a computer risk analysis, and enter into a memorandum of understanding with the county contracted financial consultant.
Move.
Second.
What I would like to add to that we should utilize Steve Contaxis, who is works through the district attorney's office. He's a CPA.
Mr. Contaxis.
Mr. Contaxis has already been involved. My motion is on the floor.
The motion has a second. Mr. Contaxis has been duly noted on this matter going back some 3 weeks. Correct, Mr. Ron?
More than that.
since May. My motion, as stated, I wrote that motion and presented it. I made the motion. You made a second?
Yes.
That's correct.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Are there any public announcements?
We have, no, you can't, I'm sorry. Well, there's another agenda item.
Oh, okay.
And there's also the matter that you moved to the end of the agenda, Commissioner, from page 2.
Number 7, Florida.
We had 4. All the other items were addressed when we had a quorum of only 2, but that one was not because somebody knows that it's what we pass. That's not how you conduct county business and agendas.
It was if you had to pay her out.
Well, no, I mean, Solicitor Hyde offered her opinion rather than just...
Number, on page 2, number 7.
Vince left the room.
Okay, it was the first item, I believe.
Oh, this is the consider approval of alerta for Henry Clay?
Yes.
That matter was not moved upon, nothing?
We delayed that till the end of the...
I'll make a
You
motion.
delayed it.
You can't delay.
Yeah, you can't.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Talk about manipulating government.
I know, but we voted on all the other ones that were too.
Okay.
Okay, the next one is to accept the donation of a 2002 Chevy Impala police package vehicle to the Fayette County Sheriff's Office from Masontown Borough.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anything else that...
There was the item that was added to the agenda.
The item that I had put forth to the agenda, suspending. I don't know, can somebody read that back for me, please? Chief Clerk, can you read that back to me?
I'm looking at it. There were actually 2 motions that ended up getting combined into one, so I want to make sure that I read it properly. Consider a motion to suspend all actions relating to the Fayette County Justice and Rehabilitation Center until such a time as the work sessions unanimously passed by the board are implemented, and to look into options, other options and/or alternatives.
That's a motion, I'll take that as a form of my motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay. Are there any public announcements?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I know you have one, but I have one.
No, public announcements.
I know, I have an announcement, and it's going to be public comment, whatever you want to call it. Last week, something happened that I hope will never happen in any level of government or private sector again. My assistant, Kathy Winkler, was in her office, and at 20 to 4 was asked to come into Commissioner Ambrosini's office. What took place there, I can't answer because I wasn't there. But I can tell you that when I spoke with Kathy, she was hysterical. She was intimidated. She was harassed, even though in the form, you may look at harassment in a different form. She also was asked questions that, quite frankly, all they had to do was ask me. But for some reason, and I say this with respect, Commissioner, and maybe I'd love to have one too, but you seem to have your own personal assistant within the media, and I think that's wrong. And I do intend to go over to the newspaper today, because I asked clearly if you need any other comments. Lo and behold, Sunday they're talking about ethics complaint violations. Well, not only do we intend to file ethics complaint violations based on his actions, there will also be EOC charges filed pursuant to his action. No individual, commissioner or otherwise, should put somebody through that level of interrogation, especially when they show signs of tears or sadness like now. Nobody should do that. Not only do you owe her an apology, but I hope she seeks the recourse that's provided to her, because she's a good lady, she's a good person, and as I always say, what she lacks in typing skills, she makes up with, because she's got a beautiful heart and everybody loves her. So, Commissioner, I would hope that the next time you want to call or you have your reporter, and I say your reporter because she is your reporter.
Amen.
Then you want to interview me, you come talk to me. I make a motion to adjourn.
No.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to go out on a bang, you know.
You ain't getting away that easy.
I'm sorry. I was just wondering.
Hit the gavel. You said you knew I wanted to speak, and then you keep.
I forgot. I apologize.
All about me, huh?
My bad. Go ahead.
Okay. This is our first comment. I have two questions on that. One, we never did finish the bit about the intervention motion that was presented by Mrs. Hyde. She said it concluded with the fact that she was authorized by John Cupp. Well, I know John Cupp, and John Cupp wouldn't do that on his own. Somebody had to order him or give him authorization to have Mrs. Hyde do what she did. So I'd like to know is where did the authorization come from originally? Nobody knows. Nobody gave him authorization. How did it occur then?
We'll have to find out.
I'm sorry, Mr. Roger, I apologize. I was looking at Kathy, wanting her to calm down. What authorization? Real quick recap.
We went to court this past week.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Because a motion of intervention was presented by Mrs. Hyde.
And it was signed off, and it was signed off
on behalf of the county.
Right.
That's actually not correct.
She was authorized by John Cupp.
It was actually a pre-trial matter between the zoning hearing board and the persons who appealed.
Okay, well, whatever.
The two authorizing entities.
She was authorized by John Cupp. I want to know who authorized John Cupp.
There is an outstanding agreement of sale signed by two commissioners, so it would be common for the county to participate in the proceeding.
If that's how now, Brown County, do we do? I recall the windmills, and Commissioner Zimmerlich, will you acknowledge, we both had to sign off on the windmills in order for them to continue with the challenge. So,
if it was just a matter of practice because of the agreement of sale, then why was it placed on the agenda requesting formal approval and ratification? If you didn't need.
I asked for it to be placed on the agenda because I saw a dissension among the commissioners, and I wanted to make sure I was only acting with the commissioner's authority, which now it has been determined that the commissioners do not want me to intervene.
But wait, okay. You filed a motion to intervene on the Havanic versus ZHB, and that was done over a month ago. And it was only asked of us to address it last week.
Yes, that's when I became aware of the dissension of the commissioners.
And then also, you filed the motion to intervene on the Chris versus ZHB, according to one individual, like a few hours after the Monday court appearance.
Yes, the judge felt that it would be best if the same petition was filed for both actions rather than just one.
I was there and I didn't hear the judge say that. That was for the adjoining. This isn't about the judge. This is about the approval. Who gave approval for you to file the motion to intervene on the Chris versus ZHB, which you did on Monday, and then on Tuesday it was placed on the agenda to approve. Who gave you that approval to do that on Monday afternoon?
No one. I did not speak to any individual commissioners on the first or second petition to intervene.
Okay, that answers your. Did you speak? Okay, she said she spoke with none of us three. Okay, but did you get the direction from the chief solicitor?
Yes. And his suggestion was just that we file the petition to intervene so that we could keep abreast of the matter, not so we could take a legal position.
Okay. Do you know if Chief Solicitor John Cupp spoke with any of the three commissioners on that?
I didn't. I don't know the answer to that question. But I did ask that it be put on the agenda.
Solicitor John Cupp did not. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, catch them out. We have to do that every time.
Solicitor John Cupp did not, and I did not discuss the matter. Commissioner Zabatowski, did you and Solicitor John Cupp discuss any matter of filing a motion to intervene on either case?
Negative.
Okay. Commissioner Ambrosini? We did not. You did not?
Yeah. Then what you're saying did this on his own.
Was there a signature by any member of this board to authorize the intervention?
No.
And you just heard from all three of us that none of us had a discussion with Attorney John Cupp requesting for him to intervene.
It's costing us money.
No,
It's costing Terry Chris money.
The action is against the zoning hearing board.
I know that.
But they're filing an appeal. Of course they're caught. They know that. It is costing them money because they hired an attorney.
Cheryl don't care, Ralph. Cheryl don't care if we spend money.
The action is against the zoning hearing board.
What I'm trying to get at is who gave who the authority to do this?
Nobody.
This is a motion to intervene. It is the county filing the motion to intervene on this case.
And take some
the Chris's have an attorney and they're paying, and the Havana, Mazza, and the other one is paying, and that's what their statement is, that they now are having to pay an attorney to respond to the county's motion to intervene. Okay, and their argument here is that none of the commissioners even said to file the motion, and it came from Solicitor John Cupp.
They were rogue and did it on their own, or they're going to send on a grenade. They're covering for Al, both of them.
I just asked the solicitor a question, and I'm giving her an opportunity to answer. Go ahead.
After the agenda meeting, it became clear that the commissioners did not intend for the county to intervene, and the next time we get together with the judge, I will share that opinion with you.
Yeah, I'm not covering.
So are you going to
I didn't say that, Commissioner.
So are you going to withdraw the county's motion to intervene?
Certainly.
Okay, there, now you got your answer.
She's going to withdraw the county's motion to intervene.
There you go. See, you have to take some time, and I asked the pertinent question. She just answered it. She said that she has no direction. You just heard from three of us that we gave no direction. Solicitor Hyde is going to withdraw the motion to intervene on both actions?
Yes, but the legal action will be continuing at this point in time unless there's further action by this board.
Well, good.
Take the action now.
Good. You know, it's a real shame that I was just billed for this yesterday for the wordage and verbiage of this intervention. So today, all of a sudden, we're going to wash it away for two people who had no authority to do any of it.
Right.
So no repercussions again for Cupp and Hyde. Just do what we want and spin some legalese on the dumb public on why we did it.
Should be repercussions.
I got to tell you, I got a question. Cheryl, you're saying that you and John Cupp acted on your own in filing this. I don't buy into that. You're too good.
Thank you.
You're too good of an attorney.
Thank you. I agree, Commissioner.
Well, I don't buy it.
They're both taking a grenade for out.
Right. My second question is...
We haven't heard from Solicitor Kopp, so...
Conveniently not here today.
Go ahead, Mr. Mazza.
My second question is, you're forever creating jobs. I call them political payoffs, but at the time that you're doing this, you have vacancies that you haven't filled. That makes no sense. Take the treasurer's office. For almost 3 years now, there's been a vacancy in the treasurer's office. And there's people in that office who are non-union doing union work. Why the union hasn't jumped your buns, I don't know. Because
They have. The union did file a grievance. This has been a ping pong episode, unfortunately, with the treasurer's office. She being told to come down here, which she should have never been told that. And then she was also told to go to the salary board, which she should have never been told that.
That was my mistake.
It was a matter of simply funding that line item. It has been taken care of, both line items, right, as of last week. Is that correct?
That's well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
And she should have never been...
And you have a controller's office where you have a deputy controller doing a controller's job. And I commend her for it, but it's still the lady is doing two jobs.
No.
They're not?
I'm been the active controller. Joyce is the chief deputy controller, and another person has been hired to fill Joyce's job.
Oh, you have hired someone?
Yes.
Okay. That's another thing. And the third thing I wanted to touch on is what occurred in your office with Kathy Winkler. I think that a long time ago, a person said to me about you. It said they knew that I didn't like Vince Facilities, and I don't like Vince Facilities, and I didn't like Vince Facilities. And the man said to me, he says, Vince Facilities don't look too bad now. I have to agree with him. You're surpassing so badly that it's sickening. But to take a lady like Kathy Winkler, who's one of the nicest people anybody's ever known, and subject her to over 2 hours of persecution is beyond my comprehension. I can't understand how a human being can do that to another human being for no other reason than to try to hurt someone. That is unconscious. You must have. I don't know. I just can't. I can't. It's beyond my comprehension how a person can do that.
Mr. Mazza, it was politically calculated, and I anticipate there'll be more politically calculated moves. Kathy did not deserve it. I mean, a simple phone call to me would have answered the question, who was the guy that picked up the blueprints? I said it was Mitch Brozick from Morgantown. I met with him Monday, coincidentally, and we were talking about a project in Germany. I bought him and his partners from the Viafor family lunch down at Riz's, that sort of thing. So all they had to do was ask me. To put her in that position was using, it's an abuse of authority, in my personal opinion. I know it's not going to be written that way.
More than an abuse of authority. I can't understand how Patty Yarder would let herself be used as the instrument of persecution like that.
From day one.
Patty's a good lady. Patty's a good person, and I'm a little troubled by what happened, but that doesn't change the fact that I think she's a good person. I think maybe she's a bit misguided based on some things, but I hope that it never happens again. I hope that we do things, you know, this is about being a leader. This is about ironing our differences out to come up with a compromise in order to make lives better for Fayette Countyans. This is not about who could hurt the other the most, because, you know, quite frankly, that's just, that's not God's will.
Well, I think reprehensible attitude that he has towards people and his treatment of those same people, I think, and this, I think, is, how do they say it? It's an act that I don't think we can tolerate. And I personally think, first of all, people have called for his resignation as chairperson. I think he should resign as a county commissioner, because he certainly doesn't fulfill my idea of what a county commissioner should be. Well, I don't think he's a very good person. First of all, you can't believe a word you say. I think he should resign.
My name's Lois Ducont, and I'm a resident of Fayette County. And Mr. Ambrosini, I want to ask you a question. How does it feel to be sit here and be interrogated and harassed for hours and hours on end? Right. How does it feel? How does you feel about it? And throwing questions into you and bombarding you and ambushing you with questions. It doesn't feel so great. This woman here did not deserve to be treated like some animal in a cage. Every one of you have assistants. Would you have allowed your assistant to be handled that way? Mrs. Zimmerly, would you allow your assistant to be handled that way? Well, would you if you have one?
I'm just answering that question.
You know,
I don't have
the point of it is, these assistants are assistants. They're not commissioners. And if you weren't man enough to go in as your fellow commissioners and do what you needed to do, this woman did not deserve this. She shouldn't have to sit in her office now and be humiliated and have her door closed and people harass her. How can she perform her job? How is she expected to perform her job on a daily basis? You owe her a public apology, and you need to get your checkbook out and you need to write this woman a check, because you owe her. You owe her. And anything that gets thrown at you, whether it's legally or whatever, you deserve. You deserve it all. But how does it feel to be sit there and be harassed? But and a newspaper be here and it's on your terms. How does it feel?
He won't make
it. How does it feel?
We're kind of used to it, so.
She won't.
This past weekend, the Veterans Office held their annual picnic for the veterans. And I have to say, it was the best picnic so far. They held it out at the AMVets, and it was great. So I just want to say kudos to Madonna and her staff. It was great. You know, I came to Fayette County 62 years ago. And I have never, in those 62 years, seen anything like this circus that's going on here. Al, when you ran for office, you told a lot of people a lot of things. And since Ralph brought up Vince Vasidis, the people were disgusted with Vince, and they had had enough of his shenanigans. And you made a lot of promises, and the people bought your BS. And they voted for you, and they put you in office. And you know something, Al? You could have went down in Fayette County history as one of the best commissioners this county ever had. But you couldn't do that. You had to stab the people in the back. You constantly lied to them. It doesn't matter if you lie about, oh, we're going to have a meeting in this room in 10 minutes. Yeah, right. The people's lined up out here. No meeting. To lie about simple little things about a meeting. Plus all the big stuff you lie about. And you go on your own and you you decide that I'm the county commissioner and I say do this and everybody should bow down and do this for me because I said so. And instead of you being revered by the people because you worked for them and you did the right thing for the people of the county, you made enemies of every citizen in this county. You made them your enemy, and you have nobody to blame but yourself. Because, first place, I don't think you understand what a public servant is. I don't think you have this much idea about what a county commissioner can and cannot do. You don't follow the sunshine laws, you don't follow your own ordinances, you don't follow your own resolutions. You just decide to go off on your own and do your thing. You ignore your two comrades there. You don't have any more power than Vince has and Angela has. The only thing you have is you get $1,000 extra for being the chairman and conducting the meeting. And you can't even conduct the meeting properly. Angela has to do it. So you blew it, Al. You really blew it. You could have been this big savior of the county by doing the right thing and working for the people. But you turn up your nose at the people. You look down at women. You really have an attitude with women. You don't like women. And you show it all the time. It's amazing to me. You told me, and I bought it. I'm sorry, I bought it, and I voted for him. But you have to be pretty dumb to act the way you acted in these last 3 years. Because you're no commissioner, so you're no commissioner. You're a sorry excuse for a person trying to act as a commissioner. And I don't know who's back at you pushing your buttons. Timmy. Or whatever.
Timmy.
Agreed. And they're leading you down the wrong path. Because like I said, the people were looking to you to be the savior of the county, and you're not. You're a big disappointment, and we're going to say goodbye to you at the end of this administration.
So I was following up on Commissioner Zimmerman's statements about the county website and the prison board minutes. And so I was following up with Commissioner Zimmerman's suggestion to check out the county website and the prison board minutes, and that just left me with a few more questions. The first is just on terminology. As far as policing statistics go, what exactly is a clearance rate? So like an overall clearance rate, a homicide clearance rate, or something like that?
I'm sorry, I can't even hear you. I apologize. Clearance rate?
Yes. In terms of crime, like
Is that a number you found on the website?
There are different percentages.
I don't know. In the prison board minutes, you found that?
Oh, no, that one was on insideprison.org.
Oh, I have no idea.
And that's off the top. Second thing is, some of the numbers that I found didn't match up with statements that were made. So at the opening of the prison report, or population reports, Warden Miller stated that there were 249 inmates in-house. But then when Commissioner Zimmerman asked about specifically the months of February and March of this year at the March 26th of this year meeting, he responded to 265 for February and 252 for March. And I was wondering where that discrepancy could come from.
Well, at times if they have a higher number, and it's not something I'm proud of, they put them in, they'll put these like little molded cart, like kayak looking things. And that basically acts as their bed. So that's how that number can fluctuate. And it's no way for a human being to have to go to sleep.
You're not asking where they're sleeping, right? You're asking the
About the
discrepancy
number.
in the number, okay?
Well, that could have a role.
So, would you read what it said?
At the opening of the statements, Warden Miller stated there were 249 inmates in-house.
249 inmates in-house, okay? And then what? And then what's the discrepancy?
When you had asked him specifically about for February and March of this year, the numbers were 265 and 252.
Okay, and when was the 249?
The same meeting, the March 26th meeting of this year.
Okay, so 249 was in March, you said? Okay.
He didn't say the month, it was just
Okay, when he says in-house, then that would mean he was reporting it at the time of the meeting. So that would have been, he was given a population report during the prison board meeting, and when he does a population report, it's for that period of time, okay? So if he said it was 249, that's his number. That is how many were in-house. Okay. Now, where did you get the 265? What did he say then?
That was a question that you had asked a little bit later on.
Okay.
You asked Brian Miller what the population report for February and what the population report for March was. His response was February is 265 and March is 262.
Okay. Well then,
Are those average figures or something?
No, they're not average. The population report fluctuates depending on how many individuals are sentenced and placed in the Fayette County Jail. So 1 month we may have 242 in-house, and another month, because of sentencing or release dates, you would have a different number.
And we also opened the third
Does
floor.
that answer your question? Okay.
The thing that is sticking is that the 249 and the 252 were supposed to be for the same month.
Yeah, and I would have to review those minutes.
And also, they opened the third floor to add for additional female space as well. I mean, like you said, afterwards, you're going to take a walk over, we'll go over. I mean, it's not a problem, man.
And what minutes, sir, what minutes are you reading?
I currently have the March 26th of 14.
Okay, I'll check those.
And my last question is, these reports don't have the numbers broken down by crime. Is there a place that I can find that?
The APO might have that. Statistically, I know that when we applied last year or the year before, we attempted to apply for a grant through the United States Department of Justice. However, we were not able to apply for said grant because we didn't have a grip on our recidivism rate. And that was one of the criteria. This program was a job training program to try to assist inmates from the period of their incarceration, train them throughout, and then as they exit, then they have the job skills to go out and hopefully gain a job, you know, the American dream, so to speak.
Are you simply asking what the inmates are sentenced for?
Yes.
Okay. It's called a jail roster. We do receive that on a daily basis, and it has their name and what they were incarcerated for, their minimum release date, and their maximum release date. If you want that information, I'm not certain if that is that under a right to know or not. I know that the commissioners receive that, and as a matter of fact, a number of county employees receive it.
I think he's asking for like the statistics, so I don't know if anybody accumulates those numbers and does averages or not.
You could ask for, under a right to know, the jail roster, and you could ask it for any period of time, like the last 6 months or the last year. Okay. Once you look at the jail roster, then you can determine what other information you would need. That would give you the start of who's in jail and what you're incarcerated for. If there's any information on there that we receive that would require redacting prior to the chief clerk releasing that information, you can check with one of our 3 paid county solicitors. And then that'll give you your start, okay?
I have a list of the jail roster for other reasons I acquired it. I'll be more than delighted to provide that. And it's already redacted. It's already, you know, it's an Excel type of thing. So, okay?
Thank you. You know, folks, as much as I enjoyed being roasted here for another 2 hours, we do have a published meeting.
Too bad.
Two quick questions. First of all, who tipped off the Herald-Standard about Vince giving the prison plans out?
Sir,
I'd like to have an answer on that. And the second one is, why did the Herald-Standard have to file a right to know to get that information?
Sir, if I may, I gave out the plans because A, I'm hard pressed to get the information.
I
wanted to gain some knowledge from somebody in the industry. It wasn't like, this wasn't the second gunman on the grassy knoll.
I'm not accusing, I'm just curious.
I don't know who
made a phone call to the newspaper.
Did the right thing.
Nobody did.
And we paid for those plans anyway. It's the people's plan.
Why does the Herald-Standard have to file a right to know to get the video?
How'd they get them so quickly? You can't get the other
Who got the
stuff
video?
right to
Nobody knows. You don't know.
Mr. Schiffbauer, ask Amy, she's right there.
Amy, who filed the right to know? I mean, why don't they have to file a right to know? To get the
Who did?
I didn't say they had to file a right to know. I received a right to know.
So that was filed because of a particular reason? I mean, all I have to do is ask?
I'm not permitted to ask why people file a right to know.
Okay. Who tipped off the Herald-Standard that the video existed?
I don't.
I just wondered, that's all. Thank you. I'll be quick.
We have a 1:30 schedule here. Go ahead. I'm just letting the public know. Go ahead.
I'm glad the two co-conspirators left the meeting. So, Commissioner Zabatowski, Commissioner Ambrosini, Commissioner Zimmerman, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Number one, and I'm glad because those two don't know the answers, maybe the controller or Commissioner Zimmerman, how much money, yeah, I'd appreciate, how much money is spent estimated so far on this prison fiasco?
Acting Controller's Office, do you know?
$2,900,542.20.
Is that what was invoiced or what was paid?
That is what was paid.
Okay, so 2 million, repeat that number for the...
$2,9,542.20.
And that's as of when? As of today. And are there invoices that are outstanding? Okay, there are invoices that are outstanding.
Okay. All right, excuse me, Commissioner, it's my turn, and you interrupted me, and I just continue to interrupt me. Zabatowski. So there's $2 million, Commissioner Zabatowski, that is spent so far. And as Terry Chris said, and maybe we don't agree on everything, but I admire his feistiness and I admire his fight for what he believes in. And as he said, today you saw the light. You know, there's a great song that was even played at my wedding, Amazing Grace. You know, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Today you were found. And I believe it's political expediency, and I didn't appreciate getting interrupted today. It wasn't very professional of you. The second thing is, Mike Ellis, when we were involved in the Housing Authority, and Mike Ellis said that what's important for people and everybody, follow the money. Follow the money. $2,009,000 is spent so far, and today the project has been halted. And Angela Zimmerman cannot be held accountable for $2 million wasted in the county coffers. That's right. So should we? So you're interrupting me, sir. I don't want you to interrupt me. John Kofchin, first time I've ever met him today. What a guy. And you know what he said? All this stuff going on. And I was attacked by you today to say, oh, political expediency. First of all, sir, I'm a citizen. I serve my country. I'm a resident. I pay taxes, my children go to school here, and I have a right, like anybody else, to come to these meetings and to be heard. So I don't appreciate anything that came out of your mouth on that. Today, so again, John Cochran said we need a solution. And I have a question, and I would ask Commissioner Zimmerling, because I think she can be trusted. Well, I know she can. We're talking about scheduled work sessions. Are these going to be advertised and have a meeting like this where people can pay attention and listen? Is the public invited?
That's the purpose of a work session, okay? Is so that a quorum, a majority of the commissioners can attend to discuss, deliberate county issues. So yes, of course they need to be advertised.
Well, I just wanted to make sure, and hopefully the press is invited.
It's been since October of 2013.
Yes.
That's when it was unanimously approved, but it was never then advertised, therefore we never held them. Plus Commissioner Ambrosini, as you heard, said he wasn't going to hold them, and nothing happened.
Right. I appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure. I'm aware of that.
They will be advertised, yes.
So, I think it's important that the mayor of Uniontown and whoever the key stakeholders invited to these meetings, people are interested, and I hope they're recorded so we don't have any of this stuff going on. And finally, with all this going on, what happened to Kathy, and then what, Al, you're turning Vince into the Ethics Commission, and then we're attacking the media, we attack speakers at the meeting, we blaming solicitors. One of the great presidents of all time, Harry Truman, said the buck stops here. Don't blame the solicitors, don't blame the public, you blame yourselves. And you're being held accountable. And the people, of the people, by the people, for the people. You all forgot that. So when are you going to say the buck stops here and do what's in the best interest of the people? I commend the people that worked on this resolution, and it's just a shame. It's sad. This is government going awry. John Cochran, I think Terry mentioned it too, the money that's spent. The time that these people had to stand out in the cold to get signatures to come back all the way, here we are. You guys did it. You did it. It wasn't on the ballot, but you did it.
People came to us, Sean, if you want the truth.
Well,
people came to us. We didn't have to beg for signatures. All we had to do was be there in public, and they come up to us and say, where is it? We want to sign it. We made a trip here to sign it.
Yeah, and it's just sad. Angela's been on I've been a minority commissioner. I know what it's like. She's been a minority commissioner for a long time. And you know what? It sucks. And you know what? What you do need people going in the right direction, working together. Commissioner Vasides, Rondell's we put differences. We got things done. There were a lot of disagreements in the second administration. So anyways, this is going awry. You know what? You will be replaced one day. Commissioner Zimmerling, we're all going to be changed. New faces will come in. But the decisions that you make today are going to affect years and years and years down the road. And definitely there's a problem with this. But thank you to the leadership of those 4 individuals and Angela Zimmerling for getting us to this point where we should have been all along with $2 million of taxpayers' money down the sewer system. So that's all. Please, I hope, and I plan on coming to future commissioner meetings, and I hope that I can speak and exercise my constitutional rights. I appreciate you, Mr. Ambrosini, and Mrs. Zimmerling for not interrupting me and being professional from that matter. Thank you.
Amen. Good job. I applaud
Commissioner Ambrosini, just a question. Did you have a winner yet in the Name That Road competition? The $200 gift card, did you make a winner yet for that?
We did not discuss that yet.
You haven't? So you're still going to do anything? Some child's house doesn't get a $200 gift card for Name That Road? No? Okay.
I'm afraid right now all the
It's not going to
processes are
happen. It might not happen by December 15, like you constantly state. But the other thing, I really briefly last night, I read every page of that Geomechanics Project 14012 online. And just like when I looked at the blueprints for Iowa Street, or whatever those were considered, there's 3 different dates in there. Just like Iowa Street had 3 different addresses. It appears that the aerial photographs that are in that study were taken in March, but yet April is when somebody from Slater finally gave him the go-ahead to do the study. Mr. Crane okayed on April 4th the investigation, yet the photos were taken in March. And then at the very bottom of the final page of that document, there's another discrepancy. It says that there's another date of November 13th. I have the wrong thing here. The infiltration results dated November 14, 2013. Now, so we have 2013, we have March aerial photos, yet the approval wasn't given until April 4th to do that study. So right there, that's what Commissioner Zapatowski may have seen that caused him to get a second opinion. I mean, three different dates on this great geotech survey, and nobody catches it? You probably never looked at it, did you, Mr. Emerson? They're going to mock me again and say I'm an engineer, or where did I get my degree?
I don't know.
You don't know what I'm referring to? Okay. And then also Friday,
If you could provide that information.
I don't need to provide it. You can look at yourself. Pull out your survey and look. I only read it online. You have the copy. The final page says in fine print at the bottom, it has the date November 2013. Whatever I think. But my other comment is Governor Rick Perry was indicted Friday for corruption and coercion of a public servant. And it's just too bad that your buddy Hennex, who wants this jail built, doesn't indict you, because you need to be indicted or charged with something. Corruption, intimidation, public servant, the way you treated her, and you aren't even man enough right now to say you're sorry. You just sit there and smile. You won't even address the issue. You probably have your lawyers looking into that.
Mary Beth, are you saying the work was done before it was authorized?
All I'm saying is that when I looked at the study that's on the county website last night, it's hundreds of pages online, there's 3 different dates. It's weird because April 4th was when a letter went to Mr. Crane of Slater, where he gave the okay to do their survey. He gave the okay April 4th for geomechanics of Elizabeth to do the report. But when looking through the report, the aerial photographs have a date of March on them, which caught my eye. And on the final page online, way at the bottom in tiny print, it says there's a November 13th date, which really caught my eye, that this infiltration results dated November 14th. That's on the final page of the document.
Perhaps what you could do is send us all an email with that information, and we can take a look at it, and you can share it with members of the public if they send it, because
they can look themselves. Yeah.
If you are asking any one of us 3 to look into that, then could you send an email and be specific as to what pages and
it's just stunning that an average person without an engineering degree can look to find errors.
And I can't address it or answer because this is the first I'm hearing.
I'll look at it and send it. Thank you.
Send it to all 3.
Correct.
Send it to whoever you want to look it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to be brief again. I just wanted to, something that caught my eye earlier was a statement, and I like quotes as well. And something that you quoted in a few meetings back was that it was a privilege for the public to be able to speak to the commissioners. I have that on film. Do you want a question?
Oh, you said that. Yes, you
I'm happy to be happy to. You said that during your meeting with the time limits. I want to offer you some advice. When 3,700 people, constituents of yours, are trying to tell you what you're doing is not the way it should be, you might want to listen next time. Because obviously, if you think you can't make a difference, people, you just did today. The thing is, you got to be active, and you can't allow things like this to occur again.
That's right.
This county has to turn a corner and have some light shown when this kind of stuff goes down. Continue to do what you're doing, and now I hope you take that advice, because if you continue with this, you won't even make it to the end of your term.
Referendum Group 1.
Do I have I appreciate you guys, but everybody's had multiple chances up at the podium. We do have some privilege.
I wasn't able to find specific numbers as to the Indian records online, but I did find out what clearance rate is, and it's the percentage of charges laid versus crimes reported. And the last complete set of data was from 2009, so it is a bit outdated. But regarding the overcrowding issue, the statistics were an overall clearance rate of 3.5%. So of all violent crime, 3.5% resulted in charges. There was a 0% homicide charge rate, a 5.25% assault rate, a 1.93% rape charge rate, 1.89% burglary charge rate, 3.37% larceny charge rate, and a 3.3% auto theft rate. If we are so concerned about clearing space and or saving space, making space, just space in general, how can we justify these numbers while there are so many non-violent offenders still sitting behind bars?
Subsequently, that's a matter that courts have to embrace. Mandatory sentencing requirements and those type of things are the reasons why you have overcrowding in any correctional facility with the mandatory minimums. 1543A and 43B, driving with a suspended license, automatic 90 days. So there are certain variables that come into play that need to be corrected, not only by the federal level, but also at the state level, to allow for these type of programs when they're non-violent offenders, for them to move into the DRCs or move in. We provide an indigent program where if you can't afford the brace on your ankle, we pay for it. If you're indigent, because it's cheaper for us to pay for that than to house you. So there are steps that are being taken, but it rests in the hands of the legislature and then the subsequent courts.
And who would be the contact to?
The Pennsylvania PC, what's that? Pennsylvania, what's the acronym? PC, Pennsylvania Crime Commission?
PCCD?
Yeah, PCCD. Okay.
That was all I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Joyce.
Hot Spots Commissioner. First of all, I'm glad to see that the cameras at the courthouse finally work. I've been for multiple years that every time either the camera was broken, the system crashed, or some other half-assed excuse was used, so this is a real plus. I hope it happens in the future. 2, our local newspaper reporter for the first time actually asked questions and did a right-to-know request. Patty, I'm glad to see that you can actually do your job. 3, $125,000 to pay Penn for the down payment. Are we getting it back, boys and girls? And it was already paid.
No.
Oh, so the $1.25 wasn't even put down for hand money. Very good. That's the first smart thing you did. Website designer, has he been paid for this new jail debacle? Remember, we're going to authorize a new website and have it up and running. $10,000 contract. He been given money?
I believe so.
I believe so.
He's been paid already?
Two commissioners authorized partial payment. Those 2 commissioners.
We got money down the toilet?
No, I think we could utilize his services in other ways, so.
Well, his services is to design a jail website. Your question was, have they been paid?
Right.
The answer to that is that a partial payment has been approved by 2 commissioners and has been paid.
Putting him on hold too?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just my take on this.
I mean, if I have a second vote, absolutely.
I understand that. Recently, Al had given Cheryl Hyde and John Cupp positions and raises, and I think today we can see why they're willing to dive on grenades to take care of their guy who gave them these raises, obviously. Cupp, Hyde, Revac, Rosiak, Bukovan, every one of them should be fired for this whole debacle. They've all sat on their hands, turned a blind eye to let all of us do the dirty work for people who are getting paid by this county. They should have said, Al, no, can't do this. They said, no. birthday. Mr. Slater, I'll bet he's the happiest man in Fayette County. He got a beautiful new building up on 119 that we paid for him for doing absolutely nothing. And Al, you said that you got roasted here today? You didn't get roasted. You had an intervention. Listen to what we all told you. If you're going to sit there and smirk about it, you're the dumbest man in this county. You heard everything loud and clear. Go home and take it all in tonight. You understand that? Take it all in and listen to what we all told you. You were elected as a community leader. You've been nothing. Every day in our newspaper, prison, 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 drugs, drugs, drugs. I'm sick of them two subjects. Our county's got more than prison woes and drug woes. You know, there wasn't even one.
You're right.
That's all it is. Prison, drugs, prison. What about all the good stuff that does happen and can happen here?
Can I tell you some of the good stuff? I'll talk. There's, in Brownsville, we joined the Pittsburgh Film Commission. Van Diesel is looking for a site to do some production. I mean, I know these are just kind of off the cuff.
Go ahead.
Will Smith's coming to town to look at some site production. I mean, there's some good things going on in Fayette, but you're right, all we read about is the negative.
Prison and drugs. I'm barring out on them two subjects. Those are the losers. Let's concentrate on the productive people in this community and what they offer.
Yeah. So
One last thing, we had Ohio Power. One little blurb, I don't know if it was in the Tribune or the Standard, about the kayakers going over the falls, being allowed one time a year. You would think you would see that in our newspaper, drawing attention to Ohio Power, drawing the tourism base, but no, that's not in the newspaper. We got to worry about prison debacles and drugs. Al, you're toast next election. I'm sure you know that, buddy. You're done. You're done.
You do.
I miss you, Joe. Do us all a favor, just go away.
Anybody here want to support Al?
Yeah. Any supporters or voters here for Al?
Yeah.